Hey, welcome in, folks. Welcome in, and hey, Struggle Bus. It's one of those days already, huh? I was gonna say it's Monday, but no, it's Tuesday. This is my Monday, so works out like that. Hope everybody's doing well today. I originally was going to talk about a different indie tabletop RPG. I believe we were due for some more. Was it Gunslinger or was it? No. I've got so many. I've got a huge pile, but this morning I checked my inbox and I had an email from Kickstarter, one of the projects that I'm kickstarting, Curseborne, which doesn't exactly bill itself outright. I don't think it uses the exact terms spiritual successor to World of Darkness, but it is from Onyx Path, who've been running with, Chronicles of Darkness and the Storyteller system for a while now. And so they're finally kind of spinning off the Storyteller or Story Path, I guess it is. We'll see it in a moment. System now it's like Story Path Ultra or something like that, and kind of spinning it into its own urban fantasy, its own take on the whole urban fantasy genre, which at first glance really does seem to be kind of World of Darkness, Chronicles of Darkness with the serial numbers filed off. But I'm hoping I don't. First of all, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. That's what DC20 has become for Dungeons and Dragons to me. It's Dungeons and Dragons with the serial numbers filed off, and then just a whole bunch of stuff made better. And I'm kind of hoping that that's what this will be. I don't need a carbon copy. I want to see something using that general vibe of urban fantasy, supernatural creatures, with a system that I'm more or less already familiar with, but reimagined, brought a little bit more, get rid of the baggage from previous games, and kind of go with it. I'm hoping they've achieved that. Exactly. No, I mean, yeah, there's more than a few White Wolf debacles, but also I think Onyx Path was not the creator of the IP, right? At the end of the day, they were still they were licensing this IP. So Curseborne is their own original in-house IP. It's their own system. They're definitely going to take inspiration, I guess, from what they've worked on already. But this is going to be their own world, their own game. Like I said, I'm hoping it is World of Darkness with the serials filed off, but in a good way, like DC20 is to D&D 5th edition, at least to me. So let's see how that goes. And on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and immediately switch on over to that. So let's see here. Should be here. Yes. There we go. There we go. And okay, wait. Spotify's probably super loud for you guys. Yeah. Let me lower them lo-fi beats down. There we go. Yeah, it should be okay. So that should be, it's about, maybe here. Okay, well, the song just finished right now, so you're not going to hear anything, but it makes this better. Okay, there we go. So let me know if the music is either not audible at all, because I want a nice little backing track. Right now it's very low. It's going into another one, but also let me know if it starts drowning me out, please, because I definitely do want to know where the balance is. So I've got it up on screen. So this is PDFs, of course. I did back the Kickstarter, so I backed it, so I will be having the physical copies, which I hope to, once this releases. This is going to be like next year. If I'm still doing this around this point next year, then or even further, because Kickstarter, then I will gladly go over the physical books. But in the meantime, okay, cool. Glad to hear that it's pretty good right now. I've got chat in like 3 different places, and the one that I really should be paying attention to is one that I've got over here. All of this is off screen for you guys, of course, but specifically I've got one that is meant to be a unified chat, a multi-chat. So I mean, not that there's anybody on YouTube now, and the one guy who we had on YouTube subbed or followed here on Twitch. I mean, YouTube, come on. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the higher quality and all that stuff. But when it comes to community, Twitch is still ahead of the game. But anyway, point is, I should finally have figured out, and more importantly, or just as importantly, the chatbot hopefully also now does its little announcements. I also updated a couple of the announcements, etc., etc. So we'll see. Little Age of Empires conversions. I see. All right. So let's see how this goes. The one thing I don't think it's combined chat on screen yet there, but it's the combined chat that I have here is from the same people. So I do have to sit down later and figure out if maybe I can get that combined chat here as well. That'd be cool. Again, not that we have all that much activity on YouTube, but the empire is growing. We are growing. We are adding additional capabilities to our various outposts and groups. Now, let's get to the matter at hand, shall we, my friends? Curseborne. So they've released 3 backer draft manuscripts so far. They have released this one, which is the World of Curseborne. So there's not going to be a lot of rules in this. There's some concepts, and again, a lot of page access, because these are early access documents. And the only reason I'm okay, I wasn't gonna do this originally. I was like I haven't done it yet for DC20. Although DC20, I can also do this. I'll explain why in a minute. But I wasn't gonna do it for this one because they were like, hey, these documents are backer exclusives. Like you only really get them if you're backing, or at least if you're pledged on the project, which I am. But then they say, hey, the whole point that we're releasing these bit by bit as we're preparing them is that before the end of the Kickstarter, I believe, ends on October 31st. By the time the Kickstarter is done, I believe even before that, by like October 20 something, they expect to already have released like the last of what you need at the basic levels and even a character sheet. So that the way they put it in their Kickstarter notes, it says you'd be able to play this if you really wanted to on October 31st. There will be enough material, and that their purpose in this to have all this material out, and the system, the classes, the races, the types, whatever they're going to call them, we'll see them soon enough, and all this stuff out before the end of the Kickstarter, is that you will not be charged. They don't want to charge anybody before everybody has had a chance to be clear on what they are getting. Like, hey, this is the game that you would be paying for, just like you'd be able, I guess, to leaf through it at a store, right? So that's kind of their idea. And with that in mind, I'm like, great, let's take a look at it out in the open. Let's go through it. And I've already pledged. I'm in on this. And I pledged at one of the fancy levels, even though I technically can't afford it, but fuck it, I'm inspired and I'm all in on this. So I will admit to it's not so much bias as hope. If anything, my bar is fairly high, which means I may be I'm not about to forgive sins. I may be particularly nitpicky, but that's because I'm in. I want this to succeed. I want this to go well. So let's see how that goes. But they've released 3 parts so far. So this one so far is the world itself and the setting. And we're not going to read all of this. I don't have that much voice to go. But we are going to dive into a lot of this. Same thing with the other ones. So the other 2 are, let me go ahead and just kind of open them up here real quick. Where did they go? Where did I download? All right, they put them in downloads and they put them in now. Where did they go? I have a folder for them. Here we go. So there's manuscript 2A, and that's so they're lineages. So lineage 1 is the dead, and then lineage 2 that they've just released is the hungry, who are basically like the vampire XPs. Let's see, to be honest, you're part of my wait and see research process, so I'm kind of excited you're hitting this one. I'm glad. Good. I am glad you're providing the service that I'm providing. Because let's see how this goes. I am excited. Like I said, I am backing this, and unless I see something just absolutely, oh my god, no, this is unplayable, I will go through with the rest of my backing. I already watched like the start of an actual play and it seemed interesting. I saw some real interesting things they were doing. I really appreciated that their actual play, when they brought up a mechanic or a term for the first time, whoever was there, and I don't think this was pre-recorded. I think it was an actual live stream, but I'm not 100% sure. I may be wrong. Onyx Path, if you're watching. But I really admired that they actually had pop-ups on screen. They would switch to a screen that actually had the mechanic, the text for the mechanic and such on screen, so you could see, oh, this is happening and this is what you do in the game. These are the mechanics for it, or a quick explanation of the concept. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I had not watched their streams before, so I don't know if that is something they do for other games. I'm guessing not for games that have been ongoing for a while, but I don't know if they've done that for any other games that they've done like live plays in part of, as you know, for a Kickstarter. If they haven't done it before, awesome that they're doing now. If they had done it before, it's still completely awesome. Either way, bennies to them, thumbs up for having that, because that was actually really, really good. So with that in mind, I'm excited. I'm hopeful. The bar is high, but so far they've managed to meet it. Now, also keep in mind, these are manuscripts. There's not going to be a lot of formatting. Expect errors, expect spelling mistakes, expect things that may be out of place, a lot of placeholder stuff. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Because again, this is a manuscript, and I already saw the comments on the Kickstarter. A lot of people are way ahead of me on just finding like, hey, in paragraph 5, page 3, you specifically say that. This is not what we're seeing today. Is already apparently like a step up from like an alpha or preview. First of all, yeah, exactly. This is the finished product, point 1. But also this that we're seeing here is already like apparently an alpha update, a beta or something along those lines. Because in the comments, I already saw people going like, oh, well, you nerfed the vampires from the original edition, and somebody had like a 5-paragraph thing already like debugging, even though there was the very, in the part where they actually released the stuff, it was like, hey, here is the link and form to give us feedback on these. So, sir, so I'm assuming it's a sir. I'm sorry, I'm gonna assume it was a sir on the 5-paragraph comment detailing all the bits and bobs that you already found wrong in the manuscript. Great, that is part of the actual stated reason that they are releasing the manuscripts. But I don't know how much weight I'm gonna put into the suggestions of somebody who just demonstrated they can't read properly. You're defeating your own purpose, sir. Quite probably a sir. Let us be, sadly, very clear. Now, and once again, quick disclaimer, this is all for review purposes. All material shown is copyright 2024, Onyx Path Publishing. Hell yeah, I am on their side. And I am putting this out, not promoted, nope, not promotional on my end, but in high hopes that this game will be good. Let's see. Now is the part on Sprockets where we read from the book. Introduction. There's a story about a woman who died and came back again. She woke up to find police all around her. She couldn't tell them that she wasn't dead because she knew by lack of breath and still heart that this wasn't true. She waited until she was in the back of the ambulance, all zipped into her black bag, and slipped away while no one was watching. No one knew what happened to her. The police wrote it off, the emergency responders made a joke missing person poster, and her family grieved. Within a week, everyone forgot about her. She did not forget about them. She was a monster now, a dead thing trapped in her own body. And for the life of her, she couldn't figure out what she had done to deserve this fate. Curseborne is a game about being unapologetic monsters in a world where being monstrous is the least of your worries. In Curseborne, you play as accursed, descendants of monstrous lineages, lurking in a modern world that closely resembles our own. You rebel against the ancient feuds between these entwined families, as well as against the web of curses that bind you, while fending off inhuman antagonists seeking to claim or reclaim your power. All right, so before we go any further, let's. I apologies to Onyx Path, because this is their game. This is not World of Darkness, but also I'm sure they are prepared for the inevitable comparisons. One of which is going to be me. Vampire, the original Vampire the Masquerade, like in 94, 95. Before that, because it was before I graduated high school, so 95 was then. Just seriously dated myself. But it and all the World of Darkness books, except Werewolf. I'm sorry. I'm a werewolf hater. I will go down with this ship. Fuck original Werewolf. There, I said it. You're not White Wolf. You're Onyx Path. Your version of Werewolf is better. I'm real curious to see what your version of Werewolf will be for Curseborne, because I am a werewolf hater, even in the new Werewolf. These are not old werewolf, all right? I admit this is my own personal bigotry. I am racist against old World of Darkness werewolves. That is on me. I do not expect that level of pure hatred from anyone else. This is me. This is a me issue. I need to go to therapy for that, and I won't. I won't, because I regret nothing. I regret nothing. Old World of Darkness werewolf can go fuck itself. That's just me. That's just me. Now, we haven't gotten to that in this game yet, but there will be comparisons. So let's compare real quick, kind of some of the vibes that we get just from this one paragraph here. This Curseborne, blah blah blah. Let's see here. So this whole paragraph. Let's see what kind of vibes we. Nope, that's not. No. Undo. Undo. I'm not judging that bad. Yeah. So this whole paragraph here. Let's just go ahead and just fuck it. No, I was trying to get a little highlight there. There we go. Now, Curseborne is a game about being unapologetic. This word stuck out to me. Unapologetic monsters in a world where being monstrous is the least of your worries. So that right there, and I'm gonna do a little disclaimer here. I am far more versed in old World of Darkness setting, lore, and vibes than I am in New World of Darkness. New World of Darkness, I am familiar with them. I'm very rusty because I haven't played any of them in a while. But the vibes were very different. Old World of Darkness was sort of, it called itself Gothic Punk, and it really tried to go for that. And it tried to be very much like, oh, you're the real monster. The real monster is inside. The world is also monstrous. And what is it like to be a monster in that, and how can you retain your humanity? Or should you, or is it worth it to retain your humanity if, in this dark world when you have been tainted / cursed / whatever. So there's definitely something of that already here. The name is called Curseborne. You bear a curse bearer. You are an accursed. So apparently all of you, that's what you are. You're all accursed, descendants of monstrous lineages. But the vibe and approach is different in that here we got that unapologetic monsters in a world where being monstrous is the least of your worries. And in the original world, I would say in the old World of Darkness, it's almost an inversion, because old World of Darkness is, every splat, every group, every lineage in their terms had some version of keep us secret, keep us safe. Hide your monstrousness, pass as human. There probably is still some of that, right? But it was very much like, no, you apologize for being a monster. And no, the biggest one of your worries is always the beast within, especially like vampire, werewolf, even something like Changeling. It's still a story of personal hope. Dying again, this magical thing inside you. It's rather than, it's both. You have to be afraid of it, because if you lean too much into it, you lose your mind. But also if you don't protect it and take care of it, it gets snuffed out. And so the immediate vibe in this first sentence is, nah, unapologetic monster. Like, you become what you are, and you embrace it completely, because the world you're in is that much more fucked. Sounds like, right? That's the first impression I'm getting. Let's see. To be seen that there's a veil between the natural and supernatural here, as I think Dresden Files put it, along the lines of, don't tell the normal humans because they have nukes and will use them because they are uncivilized and will react based on fear. Exactly, Struggle Buzz. Like, I'm curious to see what there is, because old World Darkness had each plat had some version of keep us secret, keep us safe. You know, the masquerade, sometimes supernaturally enforced, like with the mists and the what was the werewolf version? It wasn't Reverie, it wasn't Requiem, it was, I feel like it started with an R. No, with the Delirium, right? The Delirium, which kept werewolves hidden. And Wraiths also had some version of like the mists, basically. Vampires are the only ones that don't really have a supernaturally enforced, but they have the masquerade. And mages don't really have it. It's Paradox is the closest thing they have, but all of them had something supernaturally enforced. So I'm curious if maybe there might be something like this. We again, first paragraph, we're already stopping and deep diving right into it. So if anybody watching this stream later can see that this is the vibe. Again, I've said this before. If watching a dude take 3 hours to barely make it over 20 pages at best of a tabletop RPG game is your vibe, you have found the niche for you. The viewer counts show me that not a lot of people have found that niche here, but I know you're out there. So, so again, we've got this first kind of like reversal of expectations if you're coming, like I'm sure a lot of folks are, and I do not doubt that. Can we get rid of this? No. Okay, can I just? You know, they say that learn your tools. There we go. Right. Let's see how far we go. Let's see where we get. So inhuman antagonist seeking to claim or reclaim your power. So it's also rebelling against the ancient feuds. So that means you are meant to play, again, the original ones, you are meant to play newcomers. You're meant to be the newer generation of these ancient beings fighting against. Okay, so that part I always vibe with. I'm always a big fan of, bring it all down, destroy the past, move on, become better. A better world is possible. Any game that tells me a better world is possible, I'm gonna be a fan of. Let's see. The world of Curseborne is full of intrigue, magic, and things that go bump in the night. It's just like our world, except the reason that things don't go your way or that bad things happen is that the people are literally living in a world of curses. So for those of you who know the core logic and history of Jujutsu Kaisen, I just got major Jujutsu Kaisen vibes from this part here. Kind of hard to jump in being a high-ranking member of whatever curse you are. No, true, definitely. But like I said, I'm curious that there is, from the start, again, this first paragraph, like the first paragraph you put out, post the initial bit of fiction there, like that is going to, this is the image you're putting out, right? This is the core thing here. I mean, we're going to get to more core concepts shortly. But some people, this is your elevator pitch, right? This is your elevator pitch. Some people are going to leave or stay in your game because of that. So that's what I'm, the fact that they made a point of using this limited first paragraph that they have to point out that you rebel against the ancient feuds and all that, like that part, I don't know, man, because you can still rebel against being an older part of these organizations. I'm curious. I mean, but again, usually, yeah, as in most games, you're gonna wanna focus on the newer members. That's usually where you want to start, right? But I'm curious to see if the game, like how far the game's gonna let us go in that area. I'm just asking questions, man. I'm just asking questions. All right, so where were we? So this, again, curses are the bad things that happen to good people. When you trip, fall, and skin your knee, it's because you're affected by a curse that can't help but to put you in bad situations. When you wreck your new car, it's because curses don't care about your feelings or how good things were going for you before it got involved. Everyone is affected by a curse, and it's a bitch that takes no prisoners. Some people are cursed more than others, and these are our accursed characters. They have particularly large curse that hangs over their heads and makes them more prone to bad things happening to them and around them. The nature of this curse also makes them magical in nature. They have a sense of the thing holding them back, and they can manipulate it in ways that normal people cannot. Consider, there's a lot to say here. Consider curses like a spider's web. The outside edges are porous and don't catch very much, but the center is dense and catches on everything. Normal people are flies stuck on the outside edges, but the accursed are moths. They're drawn to the web, endlessly getting tangled up in the threads of curses and incapable of unsticking themselves from it. The more they struggle against it, the more it draws them in and messes with their day. That's interesting. That if this is like literally true, right? This is the concept of the game, and it does look, everyone is cursed. That's an interesting approach. And we're going to dive more into that right after these announcements, because it's ad time. You see what I did there? I'm gonna cue those ads now. We'll be right back. Oh, nope, wrong screen. There we go. That's the one. Hey, folks, we're back. We survived the ads. I knew you could do it. I believed in you. Don't worry, it will happen again in 30 minutes. Until then, however, let us continue with this. Okay, so this I really the whole world is. I mean, let's you know what? Before I comment any further, because I like this, but at the same time, I don't know what to think of it yet. It's an interesting concept. And I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with it. So let's go with the core concepts as they provide them. Curseborne has a variety of core concepts that players can tap into while playing the game. These inform the courses of action the players take and how we've structured this game to function. 1. Everyone is cursed. Curses are everywhere and they affect everything. Normal people and supernatural are affected by curses as a daily occurrence. When a normal person gets hit with a curse, they don't sit around bemoaning their fate. They just chalk it up to bad luck and move on with their lives. Sure, the world sucks, but they are so used to it as a regular part of their lives that it fades into the background. Okay, point 2. Everything is connected. This isn't just a world full of random bad things happening to random people. Good, because I'm going to say, while I find this interesting, This is something that I've found in a few other games occasionally, where you start reading and you go like, okay, interesting and dark, but fun? Question mark? Not sure. And so far, while I like this, and I like this is an interesting concept for a world, but they're not convincing me that it's a fun one yet, right? So let's see. Everything is connected. This isn't just a world full of random bad things happening to random people. It's a web of curses, and everything is connected. Curses weave an intricate tapestry over everyone. Just like the spider, it feels the vibrations of one plucked thread and scrambles towards the offender to strike. A car's headlight illuminates a moth, which flies into the windshield. The driver loses control and crashes into a convenience store, accidentally killing the gunman who was robbing the store owner for a bottle of bourbon and the $20 left in the till. The moth doesn't know what'll come next. It just heads towards the light. Again, cool writing, interesting take. So far, everything is terrible. And based on what you've told me so far, it's more terrible for me than for everyone else. Cool. Where's the attraction? I know where my attraction is because I'm looking for a replacement to World of Darkness. But if World of Darkness had never been a thing so far, my only complaint, and again we're a page in, we're two pages in, is I'm not feeling the fun yet. Like there's a hint that you are rebelling, which okay, cool. And you're fending off inhuman antagonists, and a mention of having power and such. But the focus on this is mostly, this world sucks, it sucks for everyone, and it sucks the most for you. You see? The line of catching up on chat. The line of everything is dark and terrible, but also somehow fun to play around, is a fine one that needs to be balanced out. Exactly. So again, just first impression. I'm a page in. I'm kind of not seeing the fun yet. I know it's in there because I've seen some actual play. I know the fun is there, but the first impression this game is giving off is this is a miserable world in which miserable people have miserable experiences. Just putting that out there, right? So family drama. Families are at the heart of the game of Curseborne. You're not helping. Love them or hate them, your family is the only constant in your life. Just like normal families, everyone has one regardless of if they want them. Whatever family drama you can envision for a normal family is part of an accursed family, capital F, only weirder and likely more lethal. You can embrace their weirdness or you can struggle against them, but you can't escape them entirely. That's fine. It's cool. Drama. Personal level. The Curseborne core rulebook is designed to enable stories that happen on an individual level. You aren't fighting against a giant mega corporation, so there goes the plot of Werewolf, which, cool. You are fighting against the bad manager who won't let you take a lunch break. Sure, that manager might just be a single instance indicative of corporate greed and corruption that you're ultimately railing against, but you don't just overthrow an entire conglomerate overnight. Accursed struggles are deeply personal. They're trying to make it in this world just like everyone else. Sometimes those struggles are dealing with some monster hunter who wants to wipe you off the face of the earth, and sometimes just your shitty landlord who won't face your leaking faucet. Interesting. Yes. Overall, this feels almost like a reaction to how kind of crazy powerful, and I'm expecting to see kind of like this might be a little lower scale based on what they're telling us here. I'm expecting to see a lower stakes sort of power set. I wonder if that's because that's a valid complaint that a lot of people had against Old World of Darkness and even New World of Darkness. These were not systems. These were systems that, in my opinion, I liked that aspect of them, which was that they valued narrative over mechanics. There were mechanics, but the mechanics were not necessarily meant to be balanced. If you came to World of Darkness looking for balance, especially in between splats, you were not gonna find it. Like things had power progressions that made sense in a narrative more than a actual power scaling sense. I remember some specific changeling powers where like levels 1 and 2 were wildly powerful and wildly useful, and then 3, 4, and 5 were like, oh, these are things that would only matter like once in a campaign, or apply to such specific situations where they're basically NPC abilities, NPC level powers, not really actual stuff that comes into play for an actual player character, or vice versa sometimes, right? So I'm curious to see if they've rebalanced that to make this look, because it sounds like if you have a bad manager who won't take you a lunch break, or a shitty landlord, and these are your struggles, these are your problems. Again, I'm already coming off as critical, but okay, I mean, we're getting to the there is hope. Okay, there is hope. Let's see, because so far they've been pushing me away a bit, because again, this also sounds like these are the kinds of struggles that I, as a regular everyday person, have, right? And so you're telling me at this point, you are going to be in a world that sucks. It sucks for everyone. It sucks the most for you. And your troubles in this world are going to be the same kinds of troubles that you have in your real world personal life. This, like, from a sort of power fantasy level, that's a bit of a downer. Doesn't have to be a power fantasy every time, but I'm not, again, up until this point, you're not selling me this game. You're not convincing me that I'm going to have a good time. I sincerely hope that changes, because I'm planning several of these. But I'm calling it like I see it as I go. This is my first time looking through these documents, and I'm just reacting to it as I go, right? And what I'm seeing is not inspiring a lot of like, oh yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing I'm gonna get all my close personal friends around a table and go like, hey boys, let's tell the story about this. No, I don't need to be Space Marines all the time, but I really do hope they get to the part of the game where this becomes fun. This fantasy here becomes fun. Let's see. Could just be a slice of life version of the game, which is fine. But again, I'm going by what they're presenting. What they're presenting is a sucky world that sucks. Almost an entire world. I'm not saying sucks as in quality of game, because I've so far placed no actual judgment on the game. I'm just saying what it's inspiring in me at the moment. And what it's inspiring in me at the moment is that this doesn't look that fun. So, fingers crossed, right? Let's see. Urban myths. The stories you've heard are true. That weird woman who lives at the end of the road really is a witch, and that strange sound people keep hearing at night is werewolf hunting by moonlight. There are stranger things still in the world. Stories about weird sightings, strange happenings, and generally unnerving happenstances. Urban myths, ghost stories, and local legends are all rooted in the real and terrible things that stalk the world. That part I love. Zero problem with that. This was one of my favorite things about Chronicles of Darkness, like the default Chronicles of Darkness, and why I loved playing like God Machine Chronicles stuff. This was kind of the point of it, that the world was weird, that there was stuff out there that was unexplained, that the urban myths and urban legends and all that stuff were out there, were based on real stuff. This feels much more along the lines of the urban myths line. Feels a lot more along the lines of Chronicles of Darkness, and almost like a disconnect from here, because so far it's all about curses. It feels very JJK. It feels very Jujutsu Kaisen, that all supernatural things are born of curses, and I'm almost expecting to see cursed energy and domain expansions later on. And if you're not a JJK reader, it just finished. It was a good series until the very last one, in which the creator gave a very literal middle finger to all the readers. Goddamn shame. Way to not stick the ending on that, not stick the landing on that one. Anyway. But I do like that, exactly, Struggle Bus. This portion definitely, because it feels like what I said. Hey man, hey, no worries. I was actually hanging out. Ooh, did it show up? Yes, it did show up. Cool. My multi-chat works, so I can actually see them. So in case I'm doing a full screen here, I can still see YouTube and Twitch chats on that side. Fuck yeah! Thanks so much for testing that, Himang. But yes, don't worry. I was a guest on another stream. It was late at night last night. Other than that, I didn't do any. No, Mondays I don't stream actually. Sorry. I was thinking of the Sunday stream. No, Mondays I don't stream, so don't worry. So you didn't miss anything. Mondays are my stream days off. So all good. And yes, I am a madman, but I am succeeding at the madness, says Struggle Buzz, which is true. It is working bit by bit. We are making it work. The only thing I'm curious about is if the bot will eventually start also like doing the auto announces and whatnot over on YouTube chat. We'll see. But anyway, don't worry about it. I'm glad you're here. As always, we are continuing to look at indie tabletop RPGs. This time, one that's not even finished yet. This one is from Onyx Path. Sorry, the people who used to make the World of Darkness games, or the latest like sort of World of Darkness games, and now they are coming out with their own. So we're looking at the stuff they've just released. And come on, man, you started JJK yesterday. Watch like, look, no. Hey, first of all, the JJK, especially anime-wise, holy shit! Good choice for the second anime, only a second anime you've watched ever. I'm not gonna try to tell you to go watch One Piece, but you should. But if nothing else, go look up One Piece. They'll save you a lot of time if you ever do get into it. No, JJK, the animation, top freaking notch, especially once you get to the second season, and the movie JJK Zero. Yeah, look up online because I think you should. It's like season 1 of JJK, then I think it's the movie, then JJK Zero, then season 2, then. There's an order in which the things make sense because they kind of jump back and forth in time a little. But anyway, point is, JJK top freaking notch, and where the anime is very far away from when the manga is. The manga just finished. The ending was a bit of a disappointment, but the anime is so far away from that who knows if what will happen before we get to that. And it is definitely a hell of a ride, so stick with it. Jujutsu Kaisen, totally worth it. If for the animation alone, holy shit, dude, you are 9 episodes in. You are not prepared. There are some fights coming up that are the animators like had issues, but yeah. No, look, man, I also once thought I didn't have it in me to watch the whole One Piece, and then I did. And again, look, I'll stop after this. I'll recommend one more thing after this, but I will say I am entirely glad that I am fully up to date on One Piece. It is, personal opinion of mine, quite possibly the greatest story ever told. The way it's been building for decades. Is it perfect? No, there is no perfect story, but it is, if not the greatest, one of the greatest stories ever told. The level of depth that it goes into, the payoffs. There are payoffs that have taken decades to pay off, and they are worth it. It is worth it. That said, I do not hold it against anybody who's not going to sit down and actually put themselves through that. I get it. All I can say is it is worth it. And there are resources. Again, look up One Pace online. They basically they've done the work of saints, and what they do is they have taken a whole bunch of those early episodes and early arcs, and they have trimmed down the fat. so you get just the condensed parts that actually matter. They trim down just, you know, excess animation. They make it so that it's actually quite possible to get through most of the first arcs fairly quickly without losing anything. And on top of that, they actually fix up some of the early animation and whatnot. It's incredible work that those guys are doing. But that said, that was my pitch for One Piece. It is legitimately worth it. I'm not gonna deny that it's a ridiculous amount of stuff to go through, but holy shit, is it worth it. The one last thing I will say, and I will suggest, is it like DBC, like having one fight scene for 20 episodes, or is it better pace? Oh man, I cannot defend One Piece on pacing, which there's a reason why there's a fan project called One Pace, because their whole point is fixing the pacing on the series. Yeah, exactly. One Pace. Check it out, because I cannot defend One Piece on the pacing alone. That is one of its weaknesses, especially because the anime very quickly would get caught up with the manga, so they would have to pad out a lot of stuff. It's been running that long, so it is worth it. Another reason why it's worth it to check out the One Pace stuff, if you really want to give it a shot. It is not as bad as DBC though. You know, like in terms of like, yeah, one fight scene, 20 episodes, but it does happen where there are some extended fight scenes, but the storytelling within them is rock solid, and One Piece does a wonderful job of fixing the worst of it. But the only other thing I will say, if you do have time for one more, this one just started, there's literally I think one episode out, and this is a weird recommend, or a hard one to recommend, or more like maybe wait until the second episode is out and then watch it. I watched the first episode of Dandadan. That one I think just started last week. I'm already, well, I'm not up to date 100% on the manga of Dandadan. I already knew a lot of the story, so I was really excited for this anime. Dandadan is amazing, incredibly so good. It is not that deep. It is a funny anime with some romance about aliens and ghosts and spirits and some absolutely ridiculous moments and lines. But that first episode, there is something that happens in that first episode that is kind of a wall that you have to get past. I don't want to spoil it, but it's some real anime bullshit. The only thing I can say is that is the last time that you see a scene like that in that anime. It happens because, unfortunately, when these things come out for manga, they come out on Shonen Jump. Shonen Jump is brutal. If a series doesn't doesn't get a lot of attention from chapter 1 when they come out in the magazine, they will axe it. So a lot of mangaka, they're forced to basically put in a lot of fan service and some really shocking stuff into the first couple of chapters to grab that attention, and then they're like, it's kind of a bait and switch that they kind of have to do to grab people's attention, and they go like, okay, cool, I got that out of the way, now I can go and tell the story I want to do. And Dandadan has one of the worst examples of that I've seen, which is a fucking shame because it's so good from that point on. And yeah, you heard about that from Penguins. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's on the same. We're on the same page on that. He's got a slightly bigger audience than me, but yes, exactly. And also, the art style is amazing. The art style on the anime, I really liked it. Some of the animations felt a little off because you can tell it's computer generated, some of it, but overall gorgeous. But the manga, holy shit. Incredible art, absolutely incredible art. Anyway, I've gone on a complete tangent on anime. Those are my suggestions. The eternal join the Church of One Piece, and the more modern give Dandadan a chance. Please just get past that. I mean, the first episode is still good. It's still a great first episode, but that one thing. Ah, man, and I knew it was coming. But you know what? I think the reaction overall from most people has been like they understand and they're ready for the rest of it, because it's gonna be great. I'm really excited about the rest of the series. Now I'm gonna get back to the actual review I was doing. because I've got 10 minutes before the next ad break over on Twitch. So let's go ahead and at least see if I've already displayed this on screen while I was talking about the One Piece, but here we go. Let's see if this game can pull out of the sort of hole of sadness that it was kind of leaving us in here with everything that has been telling us about everyone being cursed and not mentioning JJK by name, but definitely by vibes here. Let's see. There is hope in a grim world of curses and terror. True defiance is aggressively choosing to advocate for yourself and the ones you love. It's expressing radical empathy and forcing change rather than accepting a passive understanding of the status quo. Your characters rejecting the idea that they're damned and there is nothing they can do about it is the strongest form of rebellion you can mount. It's saying no when you see those around you succumb, and it's pulling those around you up until they can stand for themselves and help you fight against the strings of fate. It's boundless hope in the face of unsurmountable darkness. See, there we go. Now we're talking my language. A better world is possible. The world sucks, but a better world is possible. Or at the very least, so my worry here is that it's going to be like, how nihilistic a fight is this? There is hope, but is it really hopeless? We'll find out shortly. Let me catch up on chat real quick. Let's see. You heard about it? Nope. We are. Here we go. I'll take that if down to down. We'll go for 10,000 episodes. I don't have a problem if I watch it as long as it's coming out. But One Piece is backlog. It's 1,000. It's nothing. Yeah, it's 1,000 episodes. Look, man. Look. As I said, I do not judge. If you cannot, that's fine. There are books and there are series that I will probably never experience because I go like, yeah, that's too much work for me. Like, I'm probably never going to read. Maybe I will someday. Maybe the day I retire, I might read the Mala-san books, because there are like 8 of them, and each of them is like this thick. And I've heard they are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. Whew. I don't have that kind of time. I'm looking at other books in the meantime. So I get it. There are series that are it's just never going to happen. All I can say, just like people have told me about the Mala-san books, that they are worth it. Yeah. So is One Piece, as far as I can tell, or at least in my opinion. So is the One Piece. But yes, so on this game, okay, cool. So they're bringing us back out. They're giving us a little bit of hope. Cool. Let's see. Hope is at the core of any Curseborne story and a power that the player characters embody, which is greater than any supernatural gift they possess. The internal drive to do and be something better, even if that is something as simple as searching for contentment, is the way you prove every day that you're someone special. Maybe not to the uncaring cosmos or to the hierarchy of assholes that you have to navigate in your family, but to yourself and the ones you love. The moth is iconic to accursed, especially younger ones, because it isn't just drawn to lights. It gnaws away at fabric, leaving holes in the tapestry. It has come out of its cocoon and become something new and different. Accursed identify with the moth. Their curses metamorphosize them. They seek out the light, and they yearn to cut holes in the web of curses that binds them to finally find freedom. Okay, here we go. This I want to play. If I have one complaint so far, again, 2 pages in, it is that we took too long to get to the hope part. This is the part that convinces me to play. All of this so far, well, not all of this. Urban Mist is cool. Personal level, maybe. But most of this so far was telling me, like, again, we have created, hello, good sir, are you interested in the game? Well, I've got the game for you. I've got a game in which the world sucks, everybody in it sucks, everything that happens to everyone sucks. But don't worry, because it does not get better, especially not for you. You are playing the people for whom everything sucks the most of all. Now, sir, don't you want to play that? You know, it's oof is what that got for me so far. And we get to the hope funk. So now I want to know, so is the theme of this game, if the original if the original World of Darkness games were gothic, quote unquote, gothic punk, that was the vibe they were going for, I wonder if the vibe that this one is going for is more of a hope punk kind of thing, right? That's what it sounds like. That's what or at least that's what I would like it to be. I am definitely on board for hope punk. Let's see what that brings, because the next part is rebellion. Let's talk about rebellion, and then we're talking about community. Cool. Can we get through that before the ads? I think we can. Let's go. Rebellion. Characters in Curseborne tend to be rebels. Even if they are not actively fighting against an injustice, their family, or an institution, they will find themselves embroiled in other characters' stories that are engaged in such fights. Rebellion is finding hope in a shit world. It's taking meaningful actions which shine a light in the darkness. Large or small, these should be poignant moments in your roleplay scenes and where you make a genuine connection with others and touch their lives in a meaningful way. It's easy to get bogged down in the concept that the entire world is cursed. And it is up to your character to puncture through this sorrowful song with the discordant notes of joy, from a lover's stolen kiss in the back of a dive bar to a deep belly laugh with a beloved friend. Community is key. I'm moving through this real fast because I got something to say real quick before we get to the ads. While the world is cursed and everything sucks, it's hard for an accursed to go at it alone. They have their crew and their family to support them, even if they don't want that support. Accursed rely on one another to stave off the grimness of the world. They often work together, even with people they barely know, because it's easier to get things done with help. Your characters are stronger together, and if someone fucks with one of them, they fuck with all of them. This is what's selling me on the game. This vibe, there is a better world is possible, it's worth fighting, work with your community, cool. I think this would benefit from less focus on those first paragraphs and how much everything sucks. Like, you can probably condense this a little so that we get to the here's why you want to play this game. Here's why this is going to be fun. Here's how you're going to fight back. Here's the joy of this game. Here's where you're going to create that joy. This I wanted to see maybe a little bit earlier, but at the same time, like we saw this ad and now we climb up, we see the hope. Let's see what final product might also, like, first of all, this is not final. The art is probably going to implement, influence whatever. We'll see how that goes. But before we get to the next part, and now we're finally going back into book stuff and how to use this book and all that stuff. Before we go to that, I'm going to hit you with the ads real quick and we'll be right back. Boop. Keep hitting the wrong one. There we go. We are back. How is everybody doing? We are an hour in. Not too shabby. An hour in and 2 pages. 2 pages. To be fair, half an hour of that was spent basically just talking. Did it? Okay. 2 hours of that were spent basically talking about the One Piece. So I mean, I regret nothing. I regret nothing. How to use this book. This book is separated into two parts. The first part is the setting of Curseborne, which I guess we're kind of looking at now, as well as more about the accursed themselves through the view of the characters. It shows how they see themselves, their world, and their place in that world. The second part of the book are the instructions on how to use this book to play a game. You'll find the chapters on how to play the game, how to create the character, all the cool powers those characters have, and information on how to run a game of Curseborne. There's no right way to read this book. Some people like to start at the front and read every page all the way to the back. Others like to jump around. If you want to know what's in the book, here's the roadmap. So again, I'm not judging about tables of content or any of that, because again, this is just a manuscript. We're good. We're technically, this is kind of our table of contents. This is cool. Let's see. So, introduction. This is Awarudo. If we're gonna make anime references, I might as well go ahead and make them. We explain the world of Curseborne and how it differs from, or is eerily similar to, our own world, as well as a brief introduction to the lineages that comprise the accursed. The lineages. Here we detail each of the lineages and their families. You'll find the paths necessary for character creation in each lineage's mechanics section. So the dead and the hungry, which are the two that have been released so far. And upcoming are going to be the outcasts, the primal, who I'm assuming that's where our werewolves will fall, and the sorcerers. The accursed. Now that you know about the lineages, we'll tell you more about the daily lives of the accursed as a whole. Then the story path system itself, the explanation of the story path ultra system and how it is used in Curseborne. Technically, you can get the story path ultra system already. It's out. You can. There's a book that you can buy. I think that was a previous Kickstarter. From my understanding, the questions I've seen, don't quote me on this, but my understanding is that you will not need that book to play this. The story path system in its entirety, or at least in its entirety in as much as you need to play Curseborne, will be included here in this book. You will not need to purchase a separate book for this game. Then again, do not quote me on that. I remember reading about it, but I don't know if it was an official announcement or not. So do not hold it against me if that ends up changing later. But I don't think it will. I don't think it will. My understanding is that, and the fact that this chapter appears here seems to bear that out. Making an accursed, page XX. Here's our character creation chapter, which has all the steps you need to create a character, along with all the paths that you can pick from to build the character with. Paths, interesting. So you've got lineages, and then paths within each lineage. Interesting. Okay, cool. I guess we'll see once we get to some of the lineages and see how that breaks up. Accursed magic. This chapter has all the mechanical toys your character has access to, including practices and spells the characters can cast. Cool. So I guess sounds like we've got a unified kind of power system, which is cool, because in Old World of Darkness and even in Chronicles of Darkness, while every splat, like, there were similarities in the sense because they all shared the same mechanical system in game terms. So you had, these specific disciplines / whatever they were calling that splat, and they usually went from 1 to 5, and they escalated in power, etc., etc. But at the same time, each one has its own variations. Like changeling arts, for example, also had the twist of needing a bunk and needing a what was it called? It was your art and your, not domain. Crap, I'm blanking. Art and realm, your realm, to affect things with your different arts, right? And then vampire, especially later on, you had like combination disciplines and whatnot. Each one of them, like they were similar. They were similar in structure, but they all came from different sources until Mage came along and said, no, it's all quintessence. So I'm curious how like, is this a game system thing or a world system thing, right? How the powers are created and where that power comes from for each individual curse and lineage. Again, are we going to have a central, unified, sort of Jujutsu Kaisen style cursed energy thing from which all manner of different types of gifts and powers and abilities and domains and whatnot come from, or which it sounds like that's the vibe they're going for, because it's all curses at its core. It's all curses, right? So let's see. I'm real curious about that. I'm hopeful actually, because it does sound kind of like cool. I was not expecting Curseborne. I should have, maybe, because curse is right in the name, and Jujutsu Kaisen is all about curses, even though Jujutsu Kaisen literally translates into sorcery fight or sorcerer fight, because of course it does. But in this case, it's more curse fight. So I'm curious about that. Story guiding. All right, the story guiding chapter. So this is the story guide chapter. Well, I'm curious to see. I've gained a lot more respect for story guiding and GM's chapters as I've gone on in time, as I've aged, as I've gathered more experience, because I know, especially over the past decade and a half running games for the podcast and whatnot, I know both myself and others in the podcast, we've all been guilty of this sin, where we'll look at a game and just kind of like get the very basics of it, and then kind of just fit our own image of it on it, like what we expect from it, and then try and run it, and then it doesn't land well. And I know for a fact that there are several of those that haven't landed well with me and with my group, that would have if we had taken the time to read through the sort of the GM, the guide, the dungeon master, whatever, storyteller section of that game, because that's usually where it's going to tell you, hey, this is the kind of game that this system and this setting and everything is for. Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, for example, is one of the big ones where I think if we had taken the time to properly read through the kind of philosophy behind the game, it would have been a better match. It wouldn't have given us such a hard time, because we were expecting really sort of traditional not straight up D&D experience, but traditional, more old school RPG experience, and it was a cognitive that kept us from going, right? So yeah, let's see how this one treats us, right? And then adversaries chapter includes rules for all the antagonists and allies your characters might come across, how to build them, a selection of interesting antagonists to drop immediately into your world game. Cool. NPCs and enemies that you can just work with. Great. Don't make me come up with everything on my own. Give me inspiration. And it looks like this is going to be a sidebar in the book. I just want to get started. That's us. So hey, the book just heard, manuscript heard me. This is us. This is the ones like I ain't reading all that shit. Like, hey, this is all the stuff. And there are people in my group, often included, who will just go, that's great, and or terrible, I'm glad and or sad that happened to you, but I ain't reading all that shit. So what does the book have to say to jabronis like us? No patience for reading the book all the way through? We hear you. If you're looking for something specific, check out the table to contents or the index. Hey, big promises manuscript, you better come true. You know how I feel about tables of content and or index. That's not, to be fair, World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness have historically been good at having tables of contents and indexes. So I've got high hopes. If you're not sure where to start, here are a few suggestions. Start by reading the lineages, starting on whatever page they end up in. Keep reading until you find one you like, or jump to a specific one if you like ghosts, vampires, angels and demons, werewolves, or mages. Hey, there's your 5 splats. And yeah, exactly. It's like, this is what I usually do. Like, yes, I want an explanation of your game system as soon as possible, and look at that. It looks like we're gonna have exactly that immediately after this. This book is again, after that first scare of everything sucks. Okay, no, but yeah, but look, there is hope. You are hope. You are rebellion. Cool. I'm back on board. Still think this could do a little rewrite, but back on board. And now this book this game is back to doing the things that I like. Table of contents, indexes, giving me an intro to the actual base system from the beginning, so I know what to expect from now on there, and then telling me, okay, go look at what you want to play, because that's also the approach. That's usually what I'm looking at. It's like, all right, what are the classes? What are the styles? What are the splats? What are the lineages? What can I play in this game? That's my approach. So far, we are on the same page. Want to know how to play? You can get the basics below. Hey! Or jump to page whatever to read up on the rules in more detail. Nice. Have an idea for a character? Grab a blank character sheet or a piece of paper, and then go to page whatever to start making your own accursed. Fuck yeah. Want to see the cool powers? Flip to page whatever and start reading up on the spells available to the accursed. Oh, I will once that gets released. Oh, believe me, sir and or madam, I will. If you run into something you don't understand, either skip it and come back or use the index to find out more about the topic being discussed. Like we said, there's no wrong way to read this book. Except maybe with your feet. And even then, if it's a Braille book and you're just that good, go for it. Introduction to Story Path. All right. Game, book, you're doing well. Don't let me down. I've played a little bit of Story Path. I kind of know what to expect, but let's see, because it's Story Path Ultra, kind of like Michelob Ultra. I'm not sure either side in that comparison appreciates it. In Curseborne, you play out the stories of your accursed and their crew. They make up the main cast of characters, as if you were playing through a movie or TV series. Players each take on the role of a single character and make decisions for that character for how they act. One player, the story guide, is responsible for setting up the scenarios and stories that the characters will be playing through. Imagine this player is the director of the show, giving cues to the actors and setting the scenes in which they act in. Standard. Together, all the players will determine what kinds of challenges, stories, and fictional situations the characters will be entitled and getting into. The story guide will portray the extra characters and the scenes that aren't portrayed by the other characters. So this is all standard. What's a storyteller? What's a story guide in this case? The dice rolling only occurs to determine the outcome of high-stakes conflicts or challenges in which the outcome is not only uncertain, but meaningful. Again, similar language to what we've seen in a lot of other games. And correct. Curseborne lets the character's skills drive the action. Interesting. The player determines which skill is the most appropriate for the character's action and gathers up a number of 10-sided dice, d10, equal to her skill. She then picks so skill and attribute. She then picks an attribute the best for the situation, adds that number of d10s to the pool. She rolls those dice. Each die that shows an 8 or higher is considered a hit, with each 10 counting as 2 hits. Interesting. So it's not a reroll, it's just a double success. Players then add any additional hits from equipment or abilities, such as enhancements, to overcome the challenge's difficulty number and resolve any complications that may arise from the action. If the player achieves at least 1 hit, her character succeeds on the action. But if she does not also have enough hits to overcome the complications, the character may suffer a setback along with the success. Interesting. So before we get to the rest, it sounds like this is the mechanic for success at a cost. So if you get even 1 hit, it is a success. But then you have to see if you got enough hits to meet the difficulty, then it's a full success. But if you don't have enough hits to meet the difficulty or complications, sounds like. No, difficulty and complications. Okay, so difficulty is you have to beat that anyway, or not. Okay, so well, we'll see it now, but I'm curious if, because there's a challenge that's difficulty and separately there's complications, right? So does the 1 hit, do hits only start counting once they've beat the difficulty? So these number of successes and the hand. Yeah. It's still very similar to, Chronicles of Darkness, right? And because that one used the original version, the older version of Story Path system. So this is Story Path Ultra. So it's going to be a similar system, but the wording here, I'm not entirely sure Because that's like, if the player achieves at least one hit, her character succeeds on the action. But if she does not also have enough hits to overcome complications, the character may suffer a setback along with a success with complication, right? But I'm wondering, because the wording here doesn't make it clear, if in order to get a hit, hits only count once you've met or beat the challenge's difficulty number, right? Or is it just, or do hits just happen with as soon as you roll an 8 or higher on any die? That's it, you've got a hit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because they are separate things. Difficulty complications are separate matters. So it feels like you need to meet or beat the difficulty, and then after that, it's to get rid of complications, to make it from a success with consequences, a yes but, into just a full yes or a yes and, right? So let's see. Yeah, example would be nice. Your feedback hasn't been given. Yeah, exactly. So so you roll d10 equals skill attribute, any dice 8 or 9. See, so already it's counting hits here, and then you add any enhancements, and then you compare hits to the difficulty, and then after that you subtract any complications from hits and you determine the final outcome. Failure often generates what we call momentum, which is shared by the group of players and can be spent to add enhancements to future rolls, essentially allowing one failed action to motivate characters to succeed in the future. I kind of dig that. You know, I'm a fan of a shared resource pool that everybody has access to and everybody can work with. I've seen this in other games and I like this. I don't know if, was this always a part of StoryPath in Chronicles of Darkness? I don't know if it was. I don't feel like it was. If it was, it's something I missed. But I like this momentum. It's weird in the sense that, like, failed actions motivate characters, but normally momentum I would interpret as you are succeeding and you continue to succeed. You keep up that momentum. You know, we had it in the Mage game, but I think we used Mage 20th edition. Yeah, so there might be. But here, momentum is gained when you're stumbling, and those are usually momentum breakers. So the wording, the name of the mechanic doesn't fit the mental image I have of what happens, of what that concept, that name means. Again, it's all up to change, but I think this is pretty established by now. They already come out with StoryPath Ultra. So this was gonna bug me. This was gonna bug me because there's no changing this. It's already part of the StoryPath Ultra. And might be just me personally. But it's a nitpick. It's a pure nitpick. But it is in fact that I don't. Why did you call it momentum if it actually only grows when you're stumbling, when you're failing? Like, I don't mind this at all. I don't mind the mechanic. The mechanic I'm fine with. I just don't think that would have been the name for it, because it doesn't fit. Momentum would have been like a continuation of success, not the more I stumble and fall down, the more momentum I have. That's not how that. It's not how I usually work. That usually works. Momentum is about maintaining. So that's just me. Yeah, impulse maybe, or yeah, maybe. You know what? I'm spending too much time on this. It's a stupid complaint on my end. It's just gonna cause my particular brain. This is a me issue. It's gonna cause my brain to glitch out a little bit, because that's not how I interpret that word. English is in fact dumb. That is correct. And if you take nothing else from this stream, ladies and gentlemen, take that. English is dumb. All right, if the player succeeds on their action, additional hits can be used to buy off complications or to purchase tricks. Tricks are special actions that go beyond the basics. An example trick is knocking someone over or laying down covering fire. As a group, the players in the story guide work together to tell a story about the players' characters. Cool. This is something I want to do, perhaps something like this, and I think I will. It's planned for my own game, where you're rolling the d6s. Ones are hits. You only need one to succeed. but I've already established that there will be certain abilities that require you to spend like additional ones, basically from your roll, additional successes, or might require 2 or 3 minimum successes. But I do want to have a mechanism in my game where, like, basically you want to reward good rolls, and then that's kind of where this comes from. Here it's less reward good rolls and more just like, oops, no. More just sometimes you're gonna need a good roll, which is acceptable, but sometimes it's more about you're gonna need a good roll to succeed against the hard stuff. But even then, even on a simple roll, again, I like the idea of rewarding. It's one of the things that makes me happy with DC-20, rewarding good rolls. Like DC-20 is one where you, for every 5 over the target number that you beat something, you get more of whatever it is, more damage, more coolness, more effect. So any game that goes like, because sometimes there are sometimes moments where you're like, oh, I rolled a nat 20 on that roll to see, if there was anybody hiding in this room, and no, there isn't. Yay, nat 20. In these games, there's meant to be some kind of reward for a good roll. Numenera does that too. If you got a critical hit, or you can get a minor effect or major effect. Big fan of that kind of mechanic. Good. As a group, the players and the story guide work together to tell a story about the players' characters. Yay. Okay, so inspirational media. So let's see if we recognize any of these. Some of them I do already. I do not recognize the Kada Witch. I do know Beautiful Creatures. A Discovery of Witches. I know it by Deborah Harkness. The Dream Quest of Unknown Karat. Fuck yeah, one of my favorite Lovecrafts. Fangs by Sarah Anderson. No. Needful Things, yes. Definitely. Or indeed any work by Stephen King. It's impossible, almost impossible to live in this world and not have been exposed to something by Stephen King. But Needful Things in particular, I read that one. I distinctly remember long before the movie, long before anything else, that I picked up that. It was a thick one. It was a big boy. And I read that on paperback, and I loved and feared every second of it. Ocean at the End of the Lane by He Who Shall Not Be Named. Rat Queens. Rat Queens is so good. If you have not read Rat Queens, you should. Rat Queens is solid. It's solid, hilarious, well written, incredibly well drawn comics. Good stuff. Saga. Fuck. Wait. Sorry. Let me just take a step back. Okay, Things We Lost in the Fire, and Unkindness of Magicians, and The Vampire Lestat. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess we're covering a lot of ground, but I'm real curious where Dream Quest of Unknown Karat, Rat Queens, and fucking Saga? The inspiration. Saga is like intergalactic space opera drama / so much more. Another one that I cannot recommend highly enough in terms of comics. I am real curious to see where that Saga influence is. I wonder if it's one of the splats. That just got my attention, sir. You had my attention. Now you have my direct interest. Wait, give me a second. I'm getting some pings from Discord. Give me a moment. Public here. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Yeah. Oh, weird. Strange. You should be able to sign up. I do have a Psychotic Potato over on Discord. Your message has been seen, and I appreciate you enjoying the stream. I do have a restriction where I think you have to be a follower to chat. That it's just kind of a precaution, because especially for small streamers like me, oh boy, do those bots love to spam. You should see how many little alerts I get on my end saying that this account came in, tried to sell me some bullshit, and just y'all never saw it because all the spam things are catching. So sorry about that. I don't know if it's that it's not letting you sign up or just do the follow. You can do a follow to chat and then unfollow if you want. But otherwise, yeah, bot defense is kind of a must, as Struggle Buzz mentions. I still appreciate you hanging out. I'm really having a lot of fun. I mean, we are what, an hour and a half in. Ads will be starting in just a few minutes, unfortunately. There's still more. There's still more references. There's still more references. Holy shit! Oh, so many references. We'll get to them in a moment. But yeah, it's taken me again, an hour and a half to get through 4 hours. That is my niche. That is who I am as a person. Y'all have to deal with it. Let's see. Let's go with the rest of the reference real quick. Being Human. Fucking yes, solid. TV. The Crow. The only Crow movie. The only Crow movie. There was no Crow movie released recently. No. We have never been at war with Belsington. We have always been at war with Belsington. No, the only Crow movie. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Cool. The inspiration on this game is all over the place. Fall of the House of Usher, the recent one on Netflix, really good. Dracula Untold, saw The Magicians, TV. The TV one is a different beast from the books. I have read the books and the books are good. I have my complaints about some of them. But the show, The Magicians, underrated. Have not seen Only Lovers Left Alive. We'll have to check it out. The Order, yes, I've seen that. Practical Magic, Suspiria, ooh. Twin Peaks, Unsolved Mysteries, hell, Warrior Nun, holy shit, Warrior Nun reference spotted. Warrior fucking Nun reference spotted. I thought I was the only one who saw Warrior Nun. What do you think of? Okay, wait. We're getting some comments on the YouTube side real quick here. Let's see here. Says here. Wait. Why aren't you catching up? You need to catch up on because I can see it over there. That's not gonna be great. All right, let's see. What do I think of the Dune books? I read the Dune books probably too young. And I found them kind of boring at the time. And then I saw the original Dune movies, and for a long time that was it. That was my entire image of Dune. I need to go back and reread Dune. I saw the recent Dune movie. I haven't seen the sequel yet. I've been meaning to. I just need to sit down and do it. I think it's the kind of story that too many people like for the wrong reasons. Is my general opinion of Dune. It kind of falls not exactly in the same bucket as, but in the same family as stuff like Fight Club, where the lesson or the message of Dune is a lot of people are getting the wrong one. I feel like, but at the same time, it's been so long, I may be misremembering it. You know what? Let's all take a moment and think back, do the Mentat thing and think back on Dune a bit and sharpen up our memories. Because I got to hit the ads on Twitch real quick, so I'll be back in a minute and a half. Before I go, the Crow one, maybe he had fun. Bad. I watched it with my friend Dave. We did not have fun. It was sad. It wasn't. We love bad movies. We've seen bad movies. The Crow new one is beyond just a bad movie. It is terrible. I'll talk more about Dune real quick once we get back from the ads, folks. Thanks so much. All right. Come on, everybody, settle down, settle down. We're back. We're back. And no worries, Psychotic Potato. It is Twitch. It is Twitch, it turns out, apparently. No worries, no worries. I only wish, the one thing that I'm missing is I wish I could have the YouTube chat also show up here under my giant head. Because looks like the combined chat, I can see it on Stream Elements, but there's no way to display it on screen. I don't know if maybe Twitch has a rule against that. Could be. Anyway, no worries. So settle in with the cat, Struggle Bus. Settle down with that cat. And yeah, no, I gotta see. So Hemang, I do need to see Dune 2. I actually want to make like a day of it for myself. I just download them, get them ready, and do a full day. Rewatch Dune 1, and then go into Dune 2. I've got a decent little home theater set up over there with a nice. Holy shit, TVs have gone down in price. So I've got a pretty nice flat screen. Actually bought on sale these little lights in the back that kind of like light up and react to what's on screen, makes things look gorgeous in the dark. So I want to make an event of that for myself, and I just simply haven't been able to take a full day to do it. So I do want to kind of dive back in, because that said, my concerns about some of the storyline lessons aside, the spectacle of it, right? The storytelling itself, absolutely incredible. And I'm real curious to see what they do with that second part, because there are themes from the novels that tend to get misunderstood, and I'm real curious to see how those came across in the film. I really did like the first one, the first one of the new remakes, right? So I just haven't had time for the second one, but I'm real excited about it. All right. Catching up again. Where did we leave off? We've got all these references. We've got music. This I'm gonna kind of go over real quick. Let me see if I recognize any of these. Oh man, boy, that song's cursed. Joy by VNB Nation. Okay, I recognize some of these. I'm bad at music, so bear with me. But I'll leave it on screen for a second in case that any of these make more weight to you. Or make more sense to you rather than me. All right, so that's our references. Let's actually now we get an idea. Now we've got that, again, I still have my concerns about the initial intro. I think it takes a little bit too long before getting us to the part where it tells us this is how you fight back, this is the fun part, this is what you are, and even then it's like a little more subdued, but I'm on board. I just think that first impression, those first couple of paragraphs did not make this game sound fun, and I am concerned about that for other people. I know several, I have friends who would not have gotten to this paragraph. They would have probably stopped around here, I think. Maybe not even gotten to the urban myths, because after urban myths is when it starts turning around. I have friends who would not have gotten past the personal level part here. They would have said, like, this game sounds completely unfun. This game sounds like a way to play out my shitty life, but worse. Why in God's name would I want that, right? So that's a concern I have with this book. That said, they turn it around. And I like what they're doing here. I like the references. I'm curious about some of these references. Let's see where they go. And let's get into the world real quick. Catching up on chat quickly. First Dune was really slow paced, but really like the universe and the concept they had. Dune 2, yeah, no, exactly. Dune 1, I knew what it was going to be. I had a feeling I knew what it was going to be when I watched it, and that's why I was pretty satisfied, because I knew it was set up. I knew Dune 1 was going to be just a lot of world. They had a lot of world building to do, a lot of setup to do for the people that haven't read the novels. And the novels are thick boys for a reason. That they go in very deep. So now Dune 2, yeah, makes sense. That's okay. Now we get to explore. Now we get to go into these concepts. Again, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into. Once I've had a chance, don't worry. I'll let y'all know on the stream, on one of the next streams, once I've had a chance to watch it all. So let's see, the world of Curseborne. Once again, folks, anybody new on stream, I see a couple extra viewers over on the Twitch side. This is alpha/beta release for the Kickstarter. This is not final. This is what they have released so far for Kickstarter backers, for Kickstarter pledgers, with the intention of people getting a good idea of what the game is before they officially get charged for the Kickstarter. So they don't want anybody charged. They're saying, I never had a chance to view what I was pledging for. This is them releasing, hey, this is the book, this is the game itself. Then you get to decide. So big fan of that. Oh, hey man, well, the 40K universe, you know what? I am not qualified to speak on the 40K. I have my opinions. I like it. I played one of my favorite characters that I've ever played as a rogue trader, Captain Macarius, and I like it overall. Holy shit, a lot of the community around Warhammer 40K is rough. Chudhammer, as I've taken to not so affectionately calling them, is rough, but at the same time, there's a lot of good stuff. Personally, I am Team Orc. I'm Orcs all the way. But if you really want, in fact, I'll see if I can just, can I shout him out? Yeah, I'm gonna just put it on the YouTube chat here. So look for Arvandas, his channel, personal friend of mine, and he does a lot of Warhammer 40K content. So if you look for him on YouTube, he does a lot. He's been doing it for years. He's pretty good. And if any Warhammer 40K questions, he's the guy to ask. I am not qualified to discuss it in depth, but I am a fan. All right, back to it. The world of Curseborne isn't so different from ours. It's just ever so slightly weirder. The supernatural exists, and it creates a near perpetual tension and fear. That ruined church at the end of the lane is creepy, inspiring nightmares in the minds of everyone who lives within sight. The paranoia surrounding the disappearance of those local girls spreads like pernicious mold, locking down the entire community in a gradual state of paralysis and, later, violent reaction. The elders in your life are jaded, refusing to believe the facts before them, treating every account, even those with evidence, as a means to divert them from their truth. That new kid in school who goes without blinking for an uncanny length of time. Why does he stare at you? Why does he keep licking his lips? Avoidance is the chosen course for many. Avoid that part of the city. Avoid that strange family in the rundown house. Cross the road and speed up to avoid that assault in progress. Avoid that monster. Don't even think about confronting it. Others handle the strange with ritual. Jump over the cracks in the pavement. Count backwards from 30 every morning upon waking. Always put a coin in the beggar's cup when you pass him on the way to work. Never take the first bus. Always wait for the second. And of course, curses here are real. They have weight. They impact lives, families, societies, places, events, and fates. The world of Curseborne is similar to ours, but there are parts of it, people within it, and incidents that make it different. Cursed. Interesting. Okay, so a little intro to the world. Again, this is urban fantasy. They're kind of like World of Darkness originally made a point of going like, this is the world you live in, but darker. The shadows are longer and deeper. The difference between the rich and the poor is bigger. The suffering is more pronounced. Everything is turned down a little or turned darker. And this is kind of giving that in the sense that it's playing with the vibes. It's saying the world itself is cursed. Superstition is real. All those, the vibe. It's a very vibes-based world setting. And let's see, man. Yeah, for me, it's like I like it, but I'm gonna appreciate it. Exactly. I'll be looking at it from over here. I will play some of the video games I have not played. Space Marine 2. It's just the big squad-based games. So they're not really my thing. I don't play them that much. The last one I played that's kind of like that is Helldivers, which was fun. It's fun, but I don't play games with strangers a lot. So unless I can get like my specific group of friends to play like a squad-based game, I'm not going to play it. And unfortunately, me and my friends really only are able to get together at best once a week. Month of October, almost never. And when we do, we're giant nerds and we're playing tabletop RPGs. So I don't play those that much, but I did play the Rogue Trader RPG and the computer one. Solid. I need to get back to it. Actually, that was this one that I might do on the weekends every so often, but I do need to like start from scratch again. It's been so long since I've played it. There's been multiple updates, so if I do go back to that, it'll be maybe I might stream that one on the weekends. Actually, it might not be the worst idea. All right, getting back to the book. Yeah, okay, so the settings. Okay, I like this. I see a woven tapestry. This one goes on for a little while, and then we'll get to magic. Let's see, but we're establishing the normally I try not to read everything on setting on a game, but in this case, I think it's important because we really want to see how this is different. This is we're looking at it on its own terms as a game on its own and setting on its own, but also there's no escaping the baggage. There's no escaping that this has a kind of a history and certain expectations to meet up to for those that already know World of Darkness and sort of the games that this is a spiritual successor to. So we will do the same. And yes, the Emperor does protect Strogobus. So let's keep going here. Curses are a part of the world the way weather patterns are a part of the world. Again, this feels really JJK. This is I wonder, I'm curious that Jujutsu Kaisen is not one of the inspirational media, because the things they're saying here feel like right out of, and again, I'm not accusing, let's be clear, I'm not saying they stole anything from JJK or anything like that. Okay, let's do a quick experiment. You there right now watching me, try and write a horror story of any kind. Just take 5 minutes and try and come up with an idea. I am willing to bet you decent money that whatever idea you came up with, Stephen King, I'm not saying other horror writers in general, just Stephen King has already probably come up with it before and has at least 2 novels on it. It is wild. Forget about there is nothing new under the sun, all right? That originality comes from execution, not from the source material, all right? Every story has been told. One Piece, it stands on the shoulders of giants, literally, if you're up to date on the manga. Like all these stuff, like it's all built. So that said, all of this to say that even if this was taking inspiration from Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't think it is. I'm real curious to see. I would love to ask that question of the writers if they are familiar with it at all, because what the stuff that they are writing here is very similar to the stuff from Jujutsu Kaisen. And no thank you, I don't need to create horror stories or setting perfectionism, do plenty in real life. And you know what? Stephen King has written about that too. So the point is, it's just like, yeah, I'm just getting some real Jujutsu Kaisen vibes from this, and not a complaint. I kind of dig it, to be honest. So let's see. What is this? Frozen? Is that it? Is ground control just frozen? Because I haven't gotten any updates from either one. Let me try that again. Ground control. Because if this app is going to be freezing on me, if I can't count on you, app, why are you even here? What are we doing here, app, if I cannot count on you? And then I reload you, and it appears to clear out the chat. Okay, I see struggle, but I see you there. Okay, so we're back. It's live. I don't know, man. Now I'm worried. Now I'm worried if this app can be counted on. It's also not showing me my stream preview. Anyway, let us continue with the read-through. How far along are we? We have 15 minutes for the next ads. We are almost 2 hours in. We've got at least 1 more hour in us. We can do this. Can we get through the whole document? I don't know. I opened up all 3 drafts as if I was going to get through them. I thought I was going to go like, cool, you know what? We'll dedicate 1 day a week to Curseborne until it comes out. How's that? Yeah, and we can get through whatever's been released. I have a feeling it's going to be Curseborne month at this point. And you know what? Fine. Again, not sponsored. Onyx Path, you can go ahead and throw money at me if you want. I don't know. You don't have to. I'm going to do this anyway. Unfortunately for me, I'm going to do this anyway. Because I really want to go through this. I'm real curious. So let's continue. If it turns out that this is Curseborne month and this is just what we're talking about for the next few streams, I think viewers don't mind. It also doesn't help that I just get distracted every 5 minutes and go on a rant about something almost entirely unrelated. To be fair and balanced, it comes from questions from viewers. So yeah, not a complaint, please. That means people are viewing and are asking questions, which, you know, I did. Yeah. That's the point of this. I talked to my therapist, and this counts as interaction, as social interaction. So I'm gonna keep it up. A woven tapestry. Coises. I'm not gonna just keep referring to them as coises for the rest of the thing, but I'm tempted. Curses are part of the world the way that weather patterns are part of the world. And not just the local weather, the climate we exist in. It creates a pattern across everything, everyone, and everywhere. A small current here or a change in pressure there creates effects felt halfway across the world. They are part of the fabric of reality and are such an ingrained part of existence that people barely notice them. Humanity is a resilient lot. They can endure quite a bit, shouldering their individual struggles and those of their community with only a little complaint. Sorry, I had a little bit of gas there. As a whole, they overcome adversity remarkably well, and they handle curses no differently. Humanity has grown up in this world, and they know on an instinctual level that curses are a part of it, even if they can't put a name to their troubles or hardships. Many people are born to superstitious families with ritualized traditions. They're taught from an early age to always throw salt over the left shoulder to ward off evil. They're indoctrinated that one should never turn off the television until the broadcast ends. They learn that when crossing a river, they must make an offering to the fairies beneath the surface. They know that when a cloud of moths clusters in an alley, or a string of them seem to lead you someplace dark and unknown, it's best to turn and walk the other way. They may not believe in these traditions, but they practice them all the same. And it's a good thing they do, because breaching rituals formed from ancient pacts is a good way to end up cursed. Those who fail to do these things become more cursed than others. More cursed because nothing staves off curses forever. There is no true balm for the weather, except to stay inside and hope it passes you by. Those who wake up tangled in cursed threads find every instinct screaming at them to escape. But it's too late. A major curse has shown up and ruined their life. Life is hard enough with underpaid jobs, piss-poor healthcare, and news media normalizing the extreme messages they pipe onto everyone's monitors, phones, and TVs. It's tempting to drink some vodka, smoke some pot, and block out the pain with a barrage of endless streaming options. After peering over the precipice once, few go seeking the truth. They know deep down they were lucky to have escaped their first encounter with mere scratches. Then there are those who couldn't sidestep their curse. Maybe they went looking for it, or maybe they didn't. They certainly aren't talking about it on any online forums. They got slammed in the face with a curse so huge it's a damnation. Maybe they deserved it. More likely than not, they didn't. But a curse didn't just scratch them or ruin their life, it fundamentally changed them. These are the accursed, and they are the sudden downpours and freak twisters that disrupt the weather patterns, but do not change the climate. The accursed are touched by a curse in a way that makes them different, other, and wholly supernatural. They aren't the only supernatural things out there, but they are the ones who most people encounter with any regularity, whether they realize it or not. The last group, the few who accept the truth for what it is, may be enlightened, but their lonely existence is nothing to envy. They come across as conspiracy theorists, with more of a life online or in cloistered groups and clubs, chatting up like-minded obsessives. It doesn't matter who, so long as someone listens and agrees. Such people dedicate their lives to seeking out answers. The more brazen write blogs, film vlogs, and try and get hashtags trending, desperate to get someone to pay attention. when everyone else is too busy trying to get on with their lives. A big reason accursed flock together is because of these people. Because when curiosity turns to desperation and they realize they're never going to get the attention they're looking for, they pick up weapons, form gangs, and call themselves hunters or venators. Then they turn their fear into anger and take it out on the accursed or some other poor bastard in their orbit. The world of Curseborne isn't so different from ours. I was literally about to say that. That was literally going to be my AI summary of all of that. The world of Curseborne isn't so different from ours. All right, now let's talk about the fun stuff. Magic, fair and foul. The magic tastes like cinnamon on my tongue. No, cinnamon and a hint of lemon. It feels harsh and overpowering, but there's a zest, a freshness to it that feels like wonder, like rejuvenation. I would have become a sorcerer for that feeling alone. That feeling of waking up and working wonders with a thought, a gesture, a tiny sacrifice. Yeah, it's all about sacrifice. Sure, someone might get hurt, but I want to feel this way forever. Why shouldn't I? Ooh, that's dark. I think they mentioned in the live stream that I saw that sorcerers are kind of a special case in that they willingly sort of curse themselves. Like they accept sorcerers, they accept curses in order to work with them. So I'm real curious to see once we get to the sorcerers. It hasn't been released yet, so we'll see. But I think that's the approach that sorcerers are supposedly taking. So I'm real curious about that. With curses comes magic. The web it weaves over the world causes some truly unhinged circumstances and physics-breaking realities. Note sorcerers here don't get powers from their lineage. I don't think so. I think sorcerers are again, we'll get to them when we get to them. But if I'm remembering correctly, sorcerers are not so much born as made. They choose to take on curses into seeking power, I believe. But we might find they are still considered a lineage. So we'll see once we get to that. Let's see. The web it weaves of the world causes some truly unhinged circumstances and physics-breaking realities. This is indistinguishable from magic, and most people do not understand the difference between a curse and a spell, or a magical entity and an accursed. There is little difference to speak of, and those who study such things find frustration at every turn, as the two seem interlinked with redundancies and contingencies that would make a neuroscientist scream. Everyone discovers magic differently. Some witness its effects firsthand. A wolf-shaped man charges towards you clad in elemental flame. Someone drops their mask to reveal their true self. A body rises from death to claw, gnash, and moan in endless hunger. Others discover magic via instinct. You know how opening this door unleashes something terrible. You know the man claiming to be your father is something other than human. You know this antique pottery can grant wishes. Some people are fortunate enough to view it through a lens. A shoddy TikTok recording, a Tubi ghost hunting special that seems eerily on point, their camera picking up images that their eyes cannot. Then there are those taught about magic from an early age who have it instilled in their folklore and education. Your grandmother told you vivid stories about witches, cementing your opinion that she was one. Your friends always avoided the pit in the field because everyone knew there was something in there that ate children. You grew up in a dusty house filled with ancient esoteric tomes you couldn't help but devour. And of course, there are those for whom magic was just something from fairy tales and role-playing games, until they were cursed. In these cases, the scales might fall from their eyes and they're suddenly aware that all the ritualistic practices and superstitions were right. Magic is real. And it's a double-edged sword. Curses are magic, just as much as the spells they'll come to wield. Curseborne. Curses are magic. If that's not a tagline, Onyx Path, you can have that one for free. I want that as a T-shirt. I want a little T-shirt, Curseborne, with the My Little Pony font. Like, curses are magic. I would wear that to a con. Send it. I would wear the fuck out of that. All right, let's see. Perception's reality. Great. Okay, we've got ads in 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and deal with perception being reality real quick. We're getting just a touch philosophical here, and then we'll once again run the ads. It always, boy, time sure does fly when you're running ads, don't it? Let's see. Perception is reality. For mundane people, suddenly realizing magic is real is a frightening thing. Few can master its effects, and those who do so become pariahs or end up as accursed. Otherwise, magic is something done to them. They may resist it, they may overpower an accursed, but they have no doubt that magic is to be avoided, and those who wield it are threats. Most would prefer to go back to blissful ignorance. Unless their encounters with magic were once designed to remove memories, people remember the events perfectly fine. How they rationalize it to themselves, though, is a different story. And there's a whole thing about rationalizations. Interesting. Okay, we will dive into rationalization, because we were wondering about this, right? Is there a supernatural, like, force hiding the supernatural? And it looks like there isn't. But rationalizations does get its own sort of thing. So we'll see what that looks like. Once we come back from our ad break, you know it was happening, you know it was coming. I have a button that I hit in order to push the ads, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. We'll be back in a minute and 30 seconds. What is up, nerds? We are back and rationalizing things to ourselves. That is healthy. That is healthy. We continue with our deep dive today into Curseborne, out now on Kickstarter. Back at if any of this seems interesting to you. No, I am not sponsored. I'm just a fanboy. All right, rationalization. So we just saw before the ads. I know the ads are meant to purge your memory. Personally, what I do when I run the ads is I turn my back so I do not perceive them, and therefore they have no hold over me. I suggest the same. Have a little timer on your phone. Just say, hey, phone assistant, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And when the ads come up, you just turn on the timer, and you turn your back, and you watch that timer. Turn off mute. Timer's off, you come back to me. Win-win. I run the ads, people get paid, or whatever, certainly not me, somebody gets paid. And you have a moment of zen. You have a moment of zen. You take some time to yourself. Spend that minute and a half listening to your own thoughts. That way, when the stream returns, when I come back with my little PDF here, you are grateful. You are like, oh God, finally, I cannot be left alone with my thoughts this long. And then, you know, you stick around. That's how this works. Also, hydrate and stretch break. True. You can do that as well. Point is, don't let the man win. Rationalizations. Okay, we got a little bit of fiction here, so let's see. I open my mouth. What the fuck was that? I open my mouth. I close my mouth. I shiver. Finally, I blurt out, I call it the raccoon theory. Then I explain. It's not that we aren't aware of curses. We all are. It's only secret in the way that a raccoon is a secret. No one is actually hiding raccoons from us. There is no grand conspiracy to suppress knowledge of raccoons. We catch glimpses of them sometimes. More often, we see the signs of their passing. We find garbage cans with the lids popped off. We see the refuse strewn about, and it tells us a garbled story. Yeah, we know about raccoons. But on the other hand, if someone asked you how many raccoons you saw last month, or when you saw one last, you might not be able to answer. If you got asked how many raccoons there are in the city, or if you needed to find a particular raccoon, you wouldn't even know where to start. Everyone in our circle, sitting in this darkened pub, nods. They get it. It's crazy what we live with, what we get used to, what we normalize. Did we all just go insane at some point, decide that this was all right? And what can you do? You take a walk, you spy a hint of a curse. For just a moment, you spot a phantom form, or for a split second, you see something flapping overhead that's far too big to be a bird. So what? What happens next? Nothing. There's no climax, happy or horrifying. You still have to go work your shift on Monday, still have your mortgage or student debt to pay, still dangle on the noose of necessities, the ever-widening gap of the cost of living and take-home pay, pulling the rope tighter, closing off all oxygen and time for anything so frivolous as introspection. Life just limps on. Maybe a year later you have another sighting, but how the fuck do these things even connect? Do they connect? That's the worst part. The only thing scarier than a global conspiracy is no conspiracy. No villain, no meaning to any of it. We're just prey, wandering in a random preternatural ecosystem. We're juicy grubs in a nightmare garden. What can we do? So this game has a real nihilist / absurdist bent. It kind of goes out of its way a few times to point out that there is no grand conspiracy, no set of the universe is made of curses, and that's no one's fault. It just is kind of the vibe I'm getting. But within that, there's that absurdist view of like, and therefore the only meaning that matters is, and the only hope that matters is the hope that we create, the meaning that we assign, that we choose to assign, is the vibe that I'm getting here. Definitely, if you're looking for a little bit of philosophy with your indie tabletop RPG deep dives, here I be. So let's see. Weird and bad things happen to people so often that they perform rationalization by rote, as part of a normalized ritual that everyone engages in. It isn't groupthink so much as a natural response to living in a world full of curses. People may not fully comprehend what they're dealing with, but they develop ways to handle it despite their half-understanding. For those unprepared to believe in anything supernatural or adopt protected traditions, they find ways of rationalizing what they're not seeing or experiencing. They blame it on stress, exhaustion, drugs, the government, or some other non-supernatural conspiracy to explain it. Or they just look the other way because they have their own problems to worry about, and it isn't their business anyway. It's amazing how readily some people would rather claim the CIA are putting drugs in our water supply, or Pfizer have put 5G in our vaccines, or they're turning the freaking frogs gay. Okay, that one wasn't in the book, but you know, if you know, you know. Or that was magic, and it actually happened. To these individuals, it just makes more sense than accepting that there's a whole world of dangers and curses out there they can't explain. These people can be just as dangerous to the accursed as those who believe magic is real and they're suffering its effects. The only difference is when they pick up a weapon and go hunting the accursed who ruined their life, they think they're busting a rogue government conspiracy. Lamau, exactly. Inlays and inroads. While the world of Curseborne might look like our world on the surface, it is fundamentally different. Everything is a little more threatening, slightly weirder. Or to be more topical, they're controlling the weather. Exactly. They've got the Jewish space lasers, and they're controlling. I saw somebody else say this is not an original thought of mine. This is originally thought by, of course, Stephen King, who I assume the person that I heard it from had it. I am a subscriber to the school of thought that believes that all thought originally comes from Stephen King, and then we're all just adapting, creating adaptations of Stephen King's work, really in all genres, in all fields of study. That's just how it works. The man is a machine. But it's just I completely lost track of what I was saying here. This is why I'm never gonna hit it big. Point is, yeah. Oh yeah, right. Going back to where I got this thought from, which I haven't given you the thought yet. The thought is, if let's say Marjorie, was it bad built butch body Taylor Greene, is let's give her the benefit of the doubt and say the Democrats are controlling the weather to create some of the most powerful storms ever created. Go look it up and then be sad. If they had that capability, I strongly suspect the RB would be using that for world domination as we speak. They wouldn't be wasting that shit on making it rain over a few conservative neighborhoods. Okay, all right. If you're gonna take a conspiracy theory, follow it all the way. If the U.S. Army, if the U.S. government really had a way to control the fucking weather, do you think for a second that they would not be actively and constantly using that to continue the U.S.'s hegemony and empire over the planet? Because they would. They fucking would. Today's anti-imperialist rant brought to you by, once again, everybody's favorite, Marjorie bad-built butch body Taylor Greene and her fucking conspiracy theories on X, the everything app. Creativity can easily be considered a measure of how well you can hide your sources. True. Correct. Let's get back to the goddamn game, folks. Let's see. While the world of Curseborne might look like our world on the surface, it is fundamentally different, the game tells us. Everything is a little more threatening, slightly weirder, and a lot more cursed. Curses pattern over everything, creating a magic and strangeness that's hard to ignore. Curses are the reason that good people still end up in bad situations. They are the minor inconveniences that pepper your day. They are the cosmic reflex. After you do something so stupid, you deserve whatever comes to you. But curses are not the cause. They are a symptom. The corruption that comes with power isn't curse-fueled. Billionaires, CEOs, politicians, dictators, and religious leaders are capable of doing horrible things all on their own. Of course, they'll sure as shit take advantage of curses to maintain their power. As those kinds of people take advantage, curses propagate and flourish. So long as people experience jealousy, greed, hate, fear, love, grief, and all the myriad emotions baked into human existence, curses have a foothold in their lives and continue to propagate. People in powerful positions aren't the only ones benefiting from a curse here or there. Sometimes it's the petty satisfaction of seeing your bully fail, or the way you might wish harm on a shitty customer who didn't tip. Other times, it's the opportunity you seized when someone fell ill, had an accident, or other emergency. People don't think about the fact that their world sucks and there's more bad than good. They can't think about those things without being driven to distraction. Instead, they take advantage of any good fortune that comes their way, even if it's at the expense of others. The world is cruel, unjust, surprisingly helpful, freeing, and always unpredictable. Even the accursed, who have more investment into curses, cannot predict the way a curse will play out with true accuracy. They can forecast and speculate and even make educated guesses that prove true more often than not. But just like a weather forecaster, their insight is limited. Their predictions can change at a moment's notice, and they certainly cannot change the state of the incoming weather. You heard me, Marjorie. Yeah, you heard me. Look, Schadenfreude, despite our powerful drivers, at least for me. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Take your motivation from where you can get it. Spite is a powerful motivating force. You may as well fucking harness it. Unfamiliar familiarities. I fly high over the city. I take in the twinkling lights from streetlights and refracted TV screens as they blink by. I study it all. I memorize actions, motions, behaviors. I breathe in the distant smells of exhaust fumes, cooked dinners, and the perfumes and aftershaves of people about to hit the streets for tonight's fun. I pick up the traces of sweat, blood, and fear. This is my city, though the people within don't know it. I used to hate the word outcast. I would question why would we refer to ourselves like that? But then I learned the strength of the word. I learned the truth of it. And I learned that being an outcast didn't mean being a monster. It meant that interests and occupations, friends and allies would need to be found on the outskirts, in the hidden spaces, among the hidden people. Outcasts like me, even when they don't use the name. I land, feet first, on a rooftop. A small gathering is already in place. A barbecue is lit. Beers are being passed around. Before I can tuck my wings away, Kai is handing me a bottle. I'm guessing a mystery or two distracted you on the way here, Cass? He means it affectionately, but he's right. Kai's often right. And once everyone has filled their stomachs and let their hair down, I'll tell my crew about the city I am served tonight. I like this. Strobus, I think you mentioned it earlier, sort of the slice of life vibe. And I like that approach. As much as I am a fan of your epic storylines and epic quests and whatnot, there's a reason that so many animes start with this sort of casual slice of life, day-to-day stuff. There's a certain joy in playing that. So I like that idea of sort of being these outcasts in your city, having these abilities, having these powers. But look at you. You are on a rooftop. There's a barbecue. Like there's these are your friends. You're sharing beers. You're hanging out with your crew. Yeah. I like this vibe. Unfamiliar familiarities. Let's see. The world feels familiar, except for where it doesn't. Curseborne looks like our world at a glance, but any deeper look reveals the vast differences. This is a classic floor of power levels and ease of building your storytelling. Find common chords that strike people and work your way up to the insanity tiers of power. Exactly, precisely so. But in this one, like, I'm gonna put this. There's a focus on the small. There's a focus on the local. There's a big focus in everything we're seeing on the world is huge, the world is cursed, yada, 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 darkness, blah, blah, blah. You can't fight it. You can't beat it. But you can be there. You can be there for your community. You can be there for your crew. You can be there for your people. Which, fair. Same, right? So I kind of dig that. But I do. It is funny because we've seen that vibe, and I gravitate naturally towards games that are like that. I am a damn dirty commie. All right, I'm very clear on that. My politics are not terribly unclear, right? I am a damn dirty commie. I am red through and through. I'm naturally drawn to games with themes of community, of fighting back against the man, etc., etc. I had no idea that this was the tack Curseborne is taking, and I think it says something. That even a bigger project, because let's be real clear, right? Curseborne, it's still an indie project. Onyx Path is still a much smaller operation than, say, Hasbro, Wizard of the Coast, right? But it's still a relatively big name within the industry, right? Vampire the Masquerade is still pop culture. It's out there. It is known enough. It might not be at the levels of D&D, but Vampire the Masquerade alone is up there, right? It's like top 3, if not top 5 of tabletop RPG games that people actually know about, which means this is still indie. And technically, it's doing okay. The Kickstarter's doing fine. It definitely, long ago, it's been fully funded. I'm seeing projects that are a lot more indie than this one, all having bigger Kickstarter wins, than this one. Like this one, I mean, it's related to D&D 5e. I think it's a Battle Zoo Bestiary, I believe, which I was so close to bagging, but I'm not going to play D&D. I'm not going to play D&D. I don't care about 5e. I want to support the Battle Zoo Bestiary folks because they in turn support some people I like. I'm never going to use it, and I don't have the cash to spare. You might want to check them out. I think they're about to finish. I think today's the last day. But they have like 20,000-30,000 more than this project has, and they are definitely like super indie. They are tied to 5e, but they're not tied to Wizards of the Coast directly. They're an independent thing. So this is big. This still definitely made its money back and then some, and I'm sure it'll hit quite a few stretch goals. But it's not Hasbro, so it's still technically indie. So my point is that something this high up on the indie to trad curve is hitting this community focused, very this is straight up very socialist approach to sort of world building, to your characters, to how you're meant to relate with the world. It is a very modern kind of anti-capitalist approach to these games, to the world, and it is really interesting and to me encouraging to see that approach taken directly from the start as a core element and something that everything rides around in this game. From that is, it's a major release. So I, for one, am pleased at that. Let's see. So continuing with our read through. How are we doing? Okay, we got 12 minutes before the next test. Fine. Let me hydrate real quick. And by hydrate, I mean a little bit of the yellow Red Bull, the yellow cans. I forget what flavor those are supposed to be, but the cans are yellow. I'm so glad they kept that flavor because it's one of my favorite flavors. It still tastes like battery acid a little, but less, but fruitier battery acid. I do love that caffeine. Let's see. Take a drive through the city from end to end. Pass through the exactingly tended residential boroughs. You hear the sprinklers pop into life and lawnmower motors fire up. Watch kids in a shoving match as they await the school bus. Speed up as you approach the house where that man killed his wife, kids, and then himself. Was that a for sale sign planted in the front lawn? Ignore the yellow balloon you saw tied to a streetlight. You know what it means. Get the hell out of this idyllic suburb when the wizened woman approaches your car with her shopping cart filled with bottles. Each of them contains a rolled up message. She tries to stop your car, take your wishes, and seal them away. Drive on until you reach the foundries. Long ago, the city was built on this industry. You can't help but admire the old way of life this place represents and wonder at the attitude of the people who work there. Now, the staff here are skeletal in more ways than one. The fumes belching from chimneys and ducts force you to close your windows and vents. The smell is rancid and makes your skin itch. You can hear machines still running. It sounds like metal crunching metal, or maybe bones grinding bones. A transmitted squeal or scream is somehow picked up on your stereo. You shut the thing off before you throw up. Is it an echo of something, or is something terrible taking place in there right now? God, a lot of moths have smashed into the windshield today and are trapped beneath the wiper. Disgusting. Now, it's the inner city. You have fond feelings for this place. It's where you grew up, among all the abandoned row houses. You slow down as you recognize a gang tag on one of the tenement walls. A happy, troubled childhood. You played with the wrong crowd for a while. It's a tragedy what happened to them. You suddenly remember what you and your friends found a body in one of the vacants here. How you made a deal with your buddies to not call it in and instead come back day after day to watch it decompose? Was that memory suppressed? Did it even happen? You hear a trio of gunshots from a block or two away. Another life snatched. If the cops aren't too busy shaking down corner boys, they might respond to the noise. Then again, they might want to finish their coffee first. The world never cared for this little slice of urban reality. It's as if the monsters that claim it as territory have made everyone else turn the other way. You know, one of those monsters by name. He just WhatsApped you as you drove by. Downtown. It lives up to its reputation. Crowded, overwhelming, and easy to get lost in. The bars and clubs are only half the entertainment. You and your friends would sneak into the movie theater here through a side entrance. You recall how generous the alley churro guy was to teens playing truant and wonder if he's still alive, and if he ever made any money tucked away back there. You smile at the memory of your first real kiss. It was there, in the park, under the sycamore trees. These surroundings, they refresh you. Neon lights up dim windows. The curled letters invite you into smoky lounges where anything goes. The rich smell of stale booze and old vomit advertises pubs with secret back rooms. The restaurants here serve excellent food. You know not to question the ingredients. Tourists stroll blithely around, and against your instinct, you shout at one to, "Don't make a deal with the watchmaker!" Who's the watchmaker? Why did you say that? You speed up, embarrassed, and nearly hit an enormous dog in the road. She just holds her ground and growls at you, drool dripping to the asphalt. There's someone in the car with you now. They thank you for the ride, even though you don't recall picking them up. The wharf. Once upon a time, this place was used for boat traffic along the city river. Now it's a place the ultra-wealthy use for their $20,000 per square meter flats, and corporations build skyscrapers for employees now mostly work from home. Everything here is about status. You stand out if you're not in a designer brand. Even your car makes you look like a criminal. Your ride gets out here. She invites you to join her in her penthouse anytime. She reminds you it's a good idea to stay friendly with the Bathorites as she blows you a kiss from ruby red lips. As she walks away, you realize everyone on the street is staring at you, and the towering buildings make for an impossible, vertiginous labyrinth. Everything is one way, and you don't trust the direction you're being pushed towards. It feels like you're slipping away from the world you know and into some other place, somewhere outside your reality. It's time to stretch your legs. A metro station looks inviting, so you hurry your pace and disappear into its cavernous maw, your footsteps into the darkness echoing long after you've fallen from sight and memory. You know, I dig the vibe. This was disconcerting, creepy, interesting, very urban fantasy-like. It's a good. I could see this whole sequence animated. I can see this whole thing animated as a little intro to the vibe of the world. Like, that's episode 1 right there. Let's see, Between the Cracks. How long does this one go for? Right, I think we can do it. Let's see, Between the Cracks. Many places remind you of home. No, not home, a place you can't quite remember from a dream or a blog you read years ago or video you watched on a train. It sparks a familiarity, but the lines are drawn differently and in such a way that you're left feeling confident that you've never been here before. It's a Curse's doing, most assuredly, but pinpointing the differences is impossible at this point. While curses touch every place in the world, their effects ebb and flow. Some places remain untouched and unblemished, while others are distressingly altered with almost malicious intent. There's no way to catalog every nook and cranny where a curse touches or doesn't. Every city has a haunted house or two. Every village has its abandoned mine, well, or factory that everyone whispers about. It's easier to look between the commonplace and the strange to find a curse that lies in wait. These places are called liminalities, and they represent the liminal spaces between magic and the mundane, where curses run rampant, and people can't help but encounter them when they get there. Liminalities exist in the folds between reality. I like this a lot. Giving me some kind of Persona vibes here. Liminalities exist in the folds between reality. Some of them are echoes of times gone by, others are manifestations of fears, thoughts, or hopes. These places have no right existing in the world, and yet through belief, tangled memories, or the actions of the supernatural, they're brought into being. For observers, liminalities are curiosities that compel them to warn, hey, don't get off the elevator on the 20th floor, or don't leave the trail at nightfall. For explorers, the accursed, and other supernatural beings, liminalities are phenomena ranging from wondrous to horrifying. Liminalities draw vloggers out of the woodwork, compel people to write their creepypasta stories, and inspire bizarre photographs that defy rationality. The simplest and least harmful of liminalities are found in heavily occupied buildings such as popular hotels and busy offices. The carpets on the floor with their zigzag patterns, the uniform paint jobs on the walls, the identical doors studding corridors, and occasional staircases that just seem to descend into nothing can be considered liminal. They do little harm, but they confuse and occasionally entertain urban explorers. Then there are the eerie liminalities. Subway stations and bus stops that don't appear on a map but beckon you to disembark and explore. Building floors that don't exist on blueprints but from which one can hear signs of unusual life. Alleys that should be a shortcut to the next block over but drop you somewhere entirely different. Liminalities aren't restricted to places. People, sounds, and feelings can be liminal. The hitchhiker who always walks the same stretch of highway and always curses anyone foolish enough to stop for him. The calling voice condemned to search for and abduct its missing partner or someone who resembles him. The unrelenting sense of nausea and fear whenever one walks the footsteps of the serial killer resurrection Jake. All of these are liminalities. Phenomena with no rational explanation, sometimes a byproduct of magic and curses. And all of them pose risks to life and sanity. Cool. I like this. I like the concept of liminalities. I'm real curious to see what they do with it. Are we exploring liminalities? Are they like dungeons? Are they just weird places? Are they... I'm real curious to see more about liminalities. I like the concept, and I think these are examples. Okay, so we're getting a few. Oh, we're getting a lot more. I didn't think we were gonna get so much about liminalities, but looks like we are going in on liminalities for a while, it looks like. So you know what? Cool. When we get back from you guessed it, it's ads time again. When we get back from the ads, we are going to look at these sample liminalities. And I think that's going to be the last one. We'll see how far along we get on exploring liminalities, because after that, it'll be the last half hour. It'll be about 5 p.m. and that's around the time I start wrapping up. Because honestly, if I try and keep going for more than 3 hours, my lovely voice will start to suffer, and nobody wants that. Not if you want to see me again tomorrow, and I know you do. So let us do those ads, and we'll be right back, folks, as always. Whoop. Boom! We have returned, and indeed, Strugglebus. I think you're right. There are some definite Billyverse vibes from this. I would love to. I mean, look. First of all, Billy, if you're watching, which I know you're not, holy shit, you sir are a goddamn hero. Billy has gone back to school. He has achieved things. He has a career now. Good for him. And I am nothing if not proud of him. But also, I want him to stop that and come back here and run some Billyverse games for us. And I suspect that would be he would vibe with this game. I suspect is what I'm saying. But yes, Billy is in fact a badass, and I'm not sure if he knows it, but we keep telling him. Someday it'll get through to him. All right, let's hop back to it. Let's see some of these example liminal places that the game is giving us. And I really like this. I really like, again, you know me, I am a fan of examples. You describe the idea of a place, and then you give me a few places to actually flesh that out. So let's see. Stewart's Petrified Woodshop, I-40 in Arizona. Emus rustle their feathers outside the roadside stop that appears abandoned at the top of a hill overlooking the highway. A flickering open sign invites travelers inside to look at ancient stones with ancient curses. The double-wide trailer occupies only a small spot of land, otherwise surrounded by giant pieces of petrified tree trunk and a pen with emus visitors can pet and feed. The shop's walls are lined with shelves holding various dusty rocks. The dirt from outside creates a thin film along the floor, and visitors get the feeling that no one has been here in weeks. A chipper older man greets all visitors, offers his assistance, then disappears through the back door. Where that back door leads is a mystery to all, as there's nothing out there except dirt and scrub brush. Some people have said they've seen an office through that door, and other report seeing things that are far stranger. Again, real Billyverse vibes, some real Billyverse vibes on this, and I am digging it. I am here for this. I love this. Bangor Village Hospital in Busan. This abandoned hospital complex is well known as a haunted site. If this game is Urban Explorer, the game, Urban Explorer, the Urban Exploring, I'm down. I'm down. That is one of my pet things. Like Urban Explorers going into spooky places, ghost hunters going into like abandoned hospital complexes, shit like that. If this game allows me to live out my ghost hunting dreams, but also I'm kind of a vampire dude, I'm in. Again, I'm already backing this thing. I'm already pledged. They're getting my money. I cannot afford to pledge for this thing, and I'm doing it anyway, because that's who I am. These are the decisions I make. These are the decisions I make. Government, if you're watching, these are the decisions I've made. This is the path I've chosen. Fight me. This abandoned hospital complex is well known as a haunted site. Paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and phantasm hunters visit the location often. They get a thrill when they spot a phantasm roaming the empty corridors, and they have another story to add to the location's haunted legend. They never tell stories of the curator who lives nearby. Her grandmotherly appearance and welcoming smile put people at ease. She offers red bean paste-filled pastries, warming soup, and kimchi too if you stop by her house. The locals don't know her name. In fact, they repeat over and over again that no one lives in that house. It's been boarded up for years, and no one ever goes in, especially not tourists. Love that. Love that. Again. Urban legend vibes, creepy liminal places. Fuck. Yes. This is all of this part so far. Huge yes from me. I love this. Graceland Cemetery in Chicago. The final resting place of many famous people is a strange landmark for tourism, and yet curious travelers come and go from the cemetery during opening hours. At night, the cemetery grows quiet, same as all graveyards should. There, the statue named Eternal Silence watches over her charges. Everyone knows the stories of her piercing gaze, which shows the onlooker the manner of their death, while the way she raises and lowers her hands is a warning to those who venture too close. The locals know not to fuck with her. She is a sentinel, a protector of the dead, and a warning to the living. This place is cursed. Tread no closer, or you too will end up with damnation you can't shake. And yeah, nobody goes to Christchurch. It's a hot zone. Exactly. Collector's Treasury in Johannesburg. This bookstore is the largest of its kind in Africa, carrying over 1 million books. People are drawn to the sheer number of books lining the walls, floors, stairs, and every other available surface of the shop. They stay for hours, hoping to find a rare first edition or a new printing of an old favorite. Accursed had come to peruse the largest selection of books on magic in the world. They aren't the kind of books seen propped near crystals or incense that talk of the magic of the natural world. Instead, these are the tomes that only the accursed appreciate. They range from tomes belonging to the long dead, unpublished research detailing various known curses, and a repository for academically minded accursed to trade research notes. It acts as a neutral ground of sorts. Do not bring your conflict in here, or the curses these books contain will surely be turned against you. I like me a good bookstore, but cursed bookstore no less. Trafalgar Square in London. The noise and bustle of tourists and travellers never quiets in the expansive Westminster Square. During the day, tour groups take pictures on the lion statues and children play near the fountains. At night, shoppers bustle through the square and lovers sit on fountain edges, looking up at a night sky washed by city lights. It's all business as usual, and a few people take more than a passing notice of the newest art piece on the fourth plinth. Plaster-cast faces peer out at passerby, stacked upon one another like so many skulls of the dead. The people these casts come from aren't dead, and yet they represent so many who are. A curse has taken hold of any who dares to discern their memory. Their voices whisper in his dreams through the static in the TV and the instant play video on his social media, and even in the rustling of wind on leaves. He can't escape it. He can't escape their inexorable chant that tells him the exact time and date he will die. Hey, thank you for the follow, Psychotic Potato. Welcome in. Looks like you figured out your problems with Twitch. Good. Take Twitch. You do the thing. Thank you, my friend, for the follow. We are looking at liminal stuff. Although you've been watching, you know what we've been up to. We are looking at liminal places, and I'm liking the ones that we got. Okay, so those are examples. Love it, the kind of curses that you can get. Again, early JJK vibes, where you're going around defeating curses and whatnot. I dig it. Entering a liminality. Okay, we're back to a little bit of a more game rules and settings. And just a heads up to everybody. First of all, apparently it doesn't like your phone browser. Agree with you. And struggle with the same great feel as Billyverse. Yes. And Twitch on mobile is always weird. Twitch on mobile is always, the expectation is they want you to install the app. Of course they do. But I'm glad you're here, buddy. Glad you're here. Although, to be fair, I should warn, stream's going to be over in about 20 minutes because I usually stream from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So we're going to finish, and we're over half of this document. So we'll see how far we can get in 20 minutes. I have a feeling this is just going to be Curseborne week. Curseborne month, honestly, because with how much time it takes me to get through these things. But you know what? For sure, I'm having fun. I'm liking this so far. It was rough going at first with that setting, but I'm liking where we're ending up now. So let's see. Entering a liminality. So let's go through it. Oh no, a whole week talking about this. The horror. I mean, it's also spooky month, right? It's October, and this fits in with the whole thing. They're doing the Kickstarter right now. Let's take a look. I am giving them so much money. I couldn't help myself. This is my jam. So of course I'm getting the deluxe edition. And I don't even need to. Like, Jesus is also picking this one up. So if it was for the group, like, I could say no, but this one's for me. This one's personal. Also, look at me. I'm making content out of it. So I would feel bad making content out of this if I wasn't already pledged on this one, Anyway, entering a liminality. Let's go back to the rulebook. Liminalities vary between those locked behind set rituals and others accessible to anyone. The former tend to contain secrets, intelligent entities, dangers, and routes to the outside. So it sounds like, pausing here, liminalities are, again, getting kind of Persona vibes. Like they're alternate, they can be sort of slightly alternate reality kind of kind of vibes. Let's see. The latter are more confusing than outright threatening, but a supernatural may use them as easy hunting grounds where they can pick up a victim and then disappear from reality once their belly's full. Locked liminalities are harder to locate, though the accursed have a natural sense for such spaces. This also reminds me of Changeling the Lost. I think Changeling the Lost 2nd edition, I don't remember if this was in 1st edition as well, but I'd have to go back and look. But either way, either one or both of those games had something similar where the Fae and Changelings had a sense for trods, for doors that would let them access the hedge, and the hedge was always like just, it was described a lot like this, like the places where you would find the hedge were these strange little liminal places. So it feels like there's a similarity there. Let's see, 100%, they seem to have taken inspiration from various of their previous projects and kind of blended it together in a tasty smoothie. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm seeing a lot of the influences here, which I like. Again, this is World of Darkness, and Chronicles of Darkness, with the serials filed off and with a lot of the good ideas taken in without the previous baggage. Exactly what we're hoping for here. So far, so good. Again, so far, my only real complaint, criticism about the game is that those first few paragraphs and entries really don't make it sound like it's going to be fun. They spend so much time telling you how much this world sucks, and then on top of that, making sure that you know that within this world, you in specific are particularly cursed, and it particularly sucks to be you more than anything. And it's like, this game does not sound fun at all. Then, as you get more into it, you see the themes of hope and rebellion, and fuck yeah, I'm back on board 100%. But that first impression, and like I said, I know people who for a fact who would have gotten to that last paragraph before we get into the hope thing and would have stopped there, would have never seen the hope part. They would have stopped and gone like, this does not sound like fun, this is not a fun game, why are you showing me this? So I fear for the game in that sense as people look at it. Although, I think most of the people coming into this know what they're getting into to a point. But to someone brand new, kind of like I had that side note on Dan Da Dan. It's like, if you know, and it's totally worth it. But getting past that first thing, okay, it's not quite as bad as the Dan Da Dan wall, but concern. Let's see. Locked liminalities are hard to locate, though the accursed have a natural sense for such spaces. They may require an offering, such as sacrificing of an object of significance, shedding blood, or deliberately confusing oneself before trying to enter. Again, this feels a lot like the Changeling the Lost stuff, where a trod or an entrance, I forget the exact wording, but they also require some kind of key. Sometimes it was a physical, actual literal key. Sometimes it was a ritual. You had to walk around it with or shins 3 times, or use a passphrase, or do a certain action, or whatever, or some kind of sacrifice. So I see the influences there. Other times, entering a locked liminality requires directions from a supernatural, winning and using a key, which doesn't have to be a physical key, or slaying a beast. Yeah, all this stuff. And sometimes you might have liminalities that are only open on the full moon, or stuff like that, right? Open liminalities are easier to enter, with most occupants stumbling upon them accidentally. Sometimes open liminalities have restrictions, such as only existing at a certain time of night. See, I was just there. To individuals of a certain gender, ethnicity, or lineage, or may flicker in and out of existence intermittently and without a pattern. For all the ease that comes with accessing an open liminality, the risk with such fluid spaces is they can vanish from existence with as much ease as they appear. Whether they take their current inhabitants with them differs from liminality to liminality. Cool. Like the vibes on this at all completely. Big fan of what's happening here. Exiting a liminality. Whether locked or open, liminalities are always harder to exit than they are to enter. Ain't that always the case? Once you've entered one of these between spaces, slipping into a gap where reality can't reach, it takes hold of you and has no desire to let you go. For some liminalities, duration is a sufficient... For some liminalities, Duration is a sufficient curse for anyone who enters and wants to leave. If you experience weirdness and scares for the appropriate amount of time, you may find yourself hammering on a door that suddenly opens, depositing you into the world you've left behind. For others, a payment must be made, whether that payment comes in the form of the visitor's flesh, a moral, spiritual, or physical debt to be incurred in future, or simply making tribute to the space you violated and are now trying to exit, differs throughout liminalities. What's clear is, it's never as easy as just retracing your steps and heading out of the way you came. To exit liminalities, the explorers who enter them must invariably head deeper, witness or experience something they've never encountered before, and then find an exit from that point. Lingering at the place one entered a liminality is a surefire way to find predatory supernaturals homing in on your location. Predatory supernaturals homing in on my location? It's more likely than you think. Accursed know that many liminalities enjoy, quote-unquote, leading their visitors through mental labyrinths, repeating rooms, crooked alleys, and spaces that resemble the interiors of fun houses, among other oddities. It's suspected these strange locales are refractions from the minds that first conceived these liminalities, but some accursed believe liminalities possess a malevolent, or at least alien, intellect. The worst of these are known as shattered spaces. Such liminalities feed on those who enter them and have zero inclination to allow their prey and escape, unless it secures more food in the future. The worst liminalities lure visitors down paths to an ostensible exit, only to drop them on the wrong side of their space. The outside. Ooh, so there's an outside. Capital O, outside. Okay, world building. I like this. To keep going with the Jujutsu Kaisen comparisons, liminalities kind of feel like free-floating domains in JJK, and I really wonder. I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make a prediction. That as we go, we will see that at least one lineage, one kind of player character, or otherwise some kind of power, lets you effectively create a liminality, a temporary one or something like that, or a limited liminality or whatever, because that's your domain expansion right there. Right? I mean, also this reminds me a little bit of if they go in this direction, what's the name? Something the Renegades. Oh crap! It's one of the more recent ones from the past few years. But basically, everybody was kind of like a nightmare monster of some kind, and you all had your little nightmare space. It was a very weird game. I know Jesus really wanted to run it, but the more we looked at it, the more we like, that one definitely fell into this is not going to be fun to play. It's a cool idea, and it's a cool world and setting for, say, a novel, or maybe a video game, a single player kind of video game, but it did not pan out as something that would be fun to actually play out and play in. And a lot of the old World of Darkness stuff ran into that problem, and I think that might be why this one in particular is so focused on community building and having your crew and having your group of people that you are in, and not necessarily making you beholden to your lineage. In fact, they kind of make a point that you're probably going to be rebelling against your lineage and against the families and all this stuff, because in the old books there was a real feeling that like certain player character types were just not meant to get along. We're not meant to be social. We're just like, oh, you're not a character that works, that works with a group. Your allegiances are always going to be to your clan / lineage / group, whatever. You're not going to work well with the group. And here it's kind of the opposite, which I appreciate very much, because I always did have a problem with that. But one of the problems with Old World of Darkness was that it lent itself almost too much to that super edgy, oh, I'm a loner, I'm the loneriest loner of all loners, and the game mechanics back me up. Fucking Promethean. How are you supposed to play Promethean? The whole point of Promethean is that even a single one staying still for too long causes everything around them to decay and to be destroyed. And if you have a group of them, it only gets worse until they are literally driven out of town by pitchforks and torches. Like there is a supernatural element that just makes people pick up and there's a bit of that too. They do sort of mention that people will pick up pitchforks and torches kind of and go destroy the accursed if they get to stuff. So there is a little bit of that, but it's not quite like Promethean, because in this world it's all fucking cursed, right? But I get some of the vibes on that, but also I think they've dodged that particular bullet, which Old World of Darkness and even some Chronicles of Darkness stuff just kept just stepping in the way of that bullet of like, here's a cool game, here's some cool mechanics, here's a cool setting. We're gonna make it so there's absolutely no reason for your player characters to want to interact with one another. We're gonna make it impossible for them to be in society, and we're gonna make it absolutely impossible, and everybody's gonna hate them forever all the time. Their friends are also gonna hate them, and they're gonna hate themselves, and reality also hates them. Why does nobody want to play this? Why is nobody excited about this? You know? It's a problem. It was a problem in some of the previous games, so I'm excited to hopefully see that get fixed in this one. Catching up with chat real quick. Yeah, the mixed groups are a very big point for Curseborne. So the families in different lineages may or may not care for each other as much. Exactly, you know, the families are fine, whatever, but it definitely does seem, and from what I'm seeing, again, we'll see more as we get in, but it definitely does seem like it's built, you know, from the start for that community. You're supposed to have your friend group. You're supposed to have that sort of found family, found community thing, separate and more and almost more central to your belonging to a particular lineage or a particular family or a particular whatever else, which I dig, because that is something that the other games did not always do as well as they could have. All right, so this is interstitial. Okay, so there's still a lot more to go in liminalities. We've got about 8 minutes before end of stream or less. So let's go ahead and just read through this little bit of a not quite home, because it sounds like we've got interstitial zone, curses that fuel them. Okay, so this is like your pet. So I'm guessing this is your domain. These are your personal pet liminality, sounds like. Let's go ahead and read through that as we should probably do what I'm guessing is probably wrap up the stream. So let's see. Fiction. They keep telling me I'm special. They tell me I'm a treasured member of the family. Well, riddle me this, motherfuckers. If I'm so special, if I'm so goddamn treasured, well, why the fuck did you lock me in the basement 3 weeks ago? When are you letting me out? Feels. Same, brother, same. Sometimes liminalities are only strange to those looking in from the outside. The curses that fuel them seek company, and not much more. Accursed call these places interstitial zones. Unlike common liminalities, if that's not an oxymoron, interstitial zones can trap people in them and fool them into thinking this place is normal. Okay, so it's not what I thought it was. Such zones are known to expand into an infinite horizon, reset their clocks every night at midnight, or set up false friends, families, and workplaces to make their visitors feel as comfortable as possible. If liminalities are capable of intellect, interstitial zones are capable of cunning. They may be as limited as the size of a hotel or as wide as a city. They're not shattered spaces, I see beige, whatever it ends up being, as they have no hunger to feed on, torment, or kill the people who wander inside them. Quite the contrary, they want their visitors deluded, safe, and living under an illusion for as long as possible. Interstitial zones are always accessed in places with zero emotional significance, which is perhaps why they're so demanding for affection, gratitude, and occupancy. A strip mall situated on a barren section of the I-10 looks like an inviting place to stop. It doesn't exist in the real world, but if you stop there in your car for a massage, a Burger King, or some furniture, or for a game of laser tag, you'll be stuck there forever. Or at least until you've experienced every attraction the mall has to offer. There are others trapped here, but their minds are numb, and they all work in various stores dotted along the mall's length. A motel in the woods somewhere far from streetlights and the nearest gas station is a safe haven. Every occupant of this motel is a murderer on the run, hiding out here until the heat dies down. Except for them, it'll never feel safe to move on. Are you here to be another occupant or one of their victims? I love this. Again, I love the vibes. They are definitely getting me with the vibes and liminalities. This seems to lend itself very much to so as we wrap up the stream, because we've only got a few minutes, as we wrap up the stream, some final thoughts. First, I like this. I've made it clear that I think the intro spends a little bit too much time at the beginning being too dark before giving you the reasons why this game would be fun to play in. My only concern there. Otherwise, I like the vibes. I definitely like the idea of these liminal places. My concern there is how, so you're presenting me two images here. One is very focused on, I am a supernatural being, I am an accursed who still has a job, still has rent to pay, still has day-to-day problems, still lives in this world that is full of curses, and I still have to deal with that, and I have to deal with my personal family, and now my supernatural family, and have all these local concerns or personal concerns and everything. And then it keeps bringing in all these examples, all these liminal places that really feel like they would fit in a kind of monster of the week, road trip kind of game and approach, which was very different from we all live in this neighborhood and we are kind of protecting our neighborhood and living our lives and dealing with our issues here locally in our place. You can still match those too. You can have plenty of liminal, like I'm without a doubt, if I were to run this, I am setting it in New York City. This is my city. I know this place, and it's perfect fit for dark alleys and random liminalities and blah 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 and all this stuff, and also a lot of community stuff, which is perfect fit. I would 100% base this in New York City myself, personal approach. For that sort of like existing here and community thing. But also the way they're presenting this feels very much like Monster of the Week / road trip / night roads, that sort of thing, which is another thing I love, but that's a separate game. That's a different thing from that. So I'm curious to see how those two approaches are married and put together, and how we see different things from each one of them. But with that in mind, I am done for the day. Ooh, here we go. Get some lighting back on me. I am done for the day, as we didn't even get through the first of 3 documents on Curseborne. To be fair, some of these documents were released last week. I could have started this earlier, but I'm starting it now. So if you enjoyed this, for the folks who showed up earlier, thanks so much for hanging out. I will be doing this again. I stream every day except Mondays. Mondays I do not stream. Those are my days off, and I spend them doing other stuff, and also just editing and whatnot. But I stream Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little bit longer depending. And on weekends, on and off. It depends. Usually on weekends I'm doing video game stuff. Sometimes weekdays I might also stream at night doing video game stuff. Depends on my mood. But for Tuesday through Friday, 2 p.m., 5 p.m., we talk indie tabletop RPGs. And it looks like we're going to spend most of October talking about Curseborne, which is out now on Kickstarter. Look it up. If you like what you saw here, they would like your money. And then you should probably pledge some of that to them, because that sounds cool people. Again, not sponsored. This is just me being a fucking fanboy. But thanks so much for hanging out, folks. I don't have the schedule command done, I don't think. I need to actually set up the Twitch schedule. So thanks for trying, Struggle Buzz. I appreciate it. That one I haven't completely put up, but now that I know that that's a command, I'll set it up for next stream. Until then, however, I'm gonna Unexpressed Discord is a great conversation going for Curseborne. Yeah, no, I will probably hop in to that Discord and take a look later. But I'm also a shy boy. I like having a platform here. I get very shy on Discords, and also I kind of don't want to spoil myself yet. I want to kind of go through this on my own first, and then once I've seen everything they've released, then at that point, yeah, I want to talk to other people and everything else. But at least first approach, I wanna kind of go through this, because this was today my first time opening these documents and looking through them, and that's kind of the approach I want to take, so I can discover it as I go, because it is kind of fun. But on that note, folks, thanks again so much for hanging out. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, I'll go ahead and make announcements on my on Discord, on Twitch. Also, let me just go here. Socials. There we go. That is everywhere you can find me online, or most everywhere. So check me out there, and I will see you all tomorrow, 2 p.m. Bye bye, folks.